Hello and good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, October 21st, 2021. And 1 week ago today, Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 finished airing. It was a 10-episode season, which we covered on an episode by episode basis here on Live Long and Podcast. But we're here today to talk about the season more holistically, not on just an individual episode by episode basis. And we're going to kind of break that all down and look at back the whole season, just like we did for season 1. I'm Dave Mader, coming at you with Star Trek TV and movie reviews here at Live Long and Podcast. Let's bring in our panel here. We got a great group here to talk about this whole season. Starting in the top right, we will start with Jody Simpson, who is often on our original series podcast and many other Star Trek podcasts and things we do, including Trivial Debates. Oh, can't hear you, Jody.
I said, hence why I'm so lazy that I didn't even change my background.
He thinks he's on Original Series Monday.
Wait, this isn't Monday?
This isn't Monday, but we're here to talk about another Star Trek show, Lower Decks. We also have from the Tuesday, usually on Tuesday, Deep Space Nine at 9ish. We got Kevin Millard and other podcasts as well. How you doing tonight, Kevin?
Excellent.
Great. Ready to talk some Lower Decks. And also joining us, we have Davan Skelhorn from Locutors of Trek, the other Star Trek podcast in the family, as he is my second cousin. And he joined us for all 10 episodes, recaps of Season 2, Lower Decks. And he's here with us again tonight. And I was just on his podcast on Sunday. Hey, Davan.
How's it going?
Good. Doing well. Excited to talk more Lower Decks with you, and we're going to kind of break through all the episodes. So you and I have talked about this show a lot together, and you can go, but we're going to be going through the conversation, hearing more from Jody and Kevin. We were also going to have Adam on tonight, but he had to cancel, unfortunately. Who's he's often on original series and different podcasts we do there. So
I've seen enough of them. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll see Adam again. Anyway, and Jaemeel might be coming as well. Unclear at this time.
14 minutes.
Give him some time. We have his ratings as well. So guys, I thought maybe we could start just by kind of talking about, high level. Did you like it? Did you not like it? We'll start with Jody. How did you feel about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2?
I liked it a lot better than the first season. And after I rewatched the first season, as I think I mentioned on the original recap, one of these that we did, that the first season didn't really stick with me the first time around, but the second time I really enjoyed it a lot more. But this season, I think, is pretty solid. I think the first couple episodes are probably the worst ones in this season. But it definitely ended strong, for sure.
Right.
So I think it's starting to find it's almost at season 3 of TNG now. It's almost
moving
there.
in that direction. Is it at least season 2 of TNG?
I don't think it deserves that. It's better than season 2.
It's better than season 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Of TNG, that is.
Pulaski can suck it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Take that, Pulaski. All right, let's go over to Kevin. So Kevin, we traded some exchanges here and there as we've did the Deep Space Nine podcasts about Lower Decks. I know you generally have been favorable, but tell me maybe what stood out for you in this season 2.
I don't know what stood out. The whole season was excellent. I thought I liked it even better than season 1, even though I love season 1. I think I liked it better because I know the characters now, and it's a little easier to follow them. What stands out? I love the Packlids as the Dominion kind of, or the Borg, as
they're
the big
the antagonist of this show,
of the whole show. Yeah,
better than the Kazons.
What?
Better than the
Kazons? Yeah, by a lot. And actually, what did stick out for me was the one episode, the lower decks of the other ships. That was so unexpected.
Episode 9 was Dudes, which we will get to. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So better. the Packlets, who were set up in season 1 as an antagonist, but definitely expanded upon in season 2. Better than the Kazons is definitely the headline at this hour. And then
the Kazons were the Voyager ones, right?
Yeah.
for like the first 2 seasons,
the guys that look like Klingons but more afros.
Kind of, yeah. They had some interesting hair, and they were kind of they were the only species.
Can you tell Voyager is my least favorite?
I can tell. Well, they're the only species that the Borg refused to assimilate. Famously, there was a big joke that they threw in there. Let's go over to Expletus of Borg to handle that.
Expletus of Borg.
Excretus, wasn't it Excretus of Borg?
Excretus of Borg.
Yes, but I am Expletus of Borg.
We got what do we got? I got my Boimler.
I don't know if I want to know that.
You've been boimed.
You, where
You've been boimed.
you've been boimed.
Come on, guys, don't Tasha Yarmy.
Don't touch a Yarmy.
Don't Tasha Yarmy. I'm the only one that does explosions around here.
No one's blowing it up unless it's me. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to go through all of our favorite clips. I have a ton of them from this season. Davin's heard a lot of them already, but we're going to jump in through here. Let's go through the episodes, maybe one by one, and we're going to kind of get some ratings and different things. And we're going to start right now with... Oh, can't even see that, can you? All right, let's bring that in. So in the case of me and Jaemeel and Davan, we already have ratings, but in the case of Kevin and Jody, not yet. So we're going to start with the episode that's called Strange Energies. That was the first episode of season 2. And so far, it has the lowest rating of any episode we watched so far. So this also had Jeff's rating, which I'm hiding that column at the moment because he's not here. But... So we averaged at a 7 out of 10 for Strange Energies. Jody, Kevin, do you guys have any opinions? Maybe we'll start with Jody. Let's just do it here.
I always have an opinion, Dave. You know that.
Okay, well, Jody, let's hear it.
This is the weakest episode of the entire season. This is the episode they should have not started the season on. I didn't like it. It's like a 6 for me. Like it had some funny things in it, but it was just boring. I thought this was just silly. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And so just to remind ourselves, what was this episode? What happened in Strange Energies? So this is, you can see here from the shot, this is where we had started off on the holodeck with Mariner, and she was like fighting out of a Cardassian prison. And, but it turns out just to be a holodeck, and she's kind of really mad at Boimler for that he's left to go to the Titan. And then they get to this planet, and there's been this whole other subplot that was about the fact that Mariner and her mother are now getting along. Everybody, the crew knows that they're mother-daughter, and they've been doing a lot of missions together and trying to get along. But it's not necessarily been well received by Ransom, in particular, who is the first officer of the USS Cerritos. He was just not happy. He ends up becoming a Gary Mitchell type character in this. I'd have a shot here where he turns into a big head, and he was going to create a whole race of Ransomites.
I will create a race of Ransomites!
Your validation tells me.
Your validation feels so good. Tell me more. Gary Mitchell was an ant, and I am a lion!
So watching this entire episode, I felt, wow, wouldn't it have been better if they just kept with the Cardassians?
Yeah, kept with that holodeck scene at the beginning.
Yeah, if they just kept to that, I would have been like, you know what, this is good, right? But
right, because this was I thought this opening
they're making
scene,
me count a bunch of lights.
Yeah, I don't know why they're making me. So it did have some good jokes in it, I thought too. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
But overall, it left kind of me feeling lacking. This was written by Mike McMahon, who also, he's the creator of the show, and he wrote the first and last episodes of season 1 as well. And kind of a similar reaction in both cases, in both seasons. Like the panel was kind of like, see, the first episode it was fine. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Kevin, what did you think about Strange Energies?
Exactly that. I liked it. I didn't love it. Ransom isn't one of my favorite characters. He's pretty one-dimensional. Yeah. So he's he's not really anything. He's just meh. So one that revolves around him isn't going to be my favorite at all.
Right. You'll never guess.
I like all the
secret
like.
identity.
I like all the callbacks to Gary Mitchell and to the original series. I love that kind of stuff, but it was okay.
Callback wise, it wasn't too bad, but I'm with Kevin on that one. That character just is so boring.
Who do you think he's based on? Ransom, Jack Ransom. Is he a Riker?
No, he's I don't know. Maybe he's that guy from that episode of TNG where like they all forget who they are and what position they are, and that one guy just shows up. McDuff.
Oh, he's like,
maybe he's McDuff.
He's from the episode where they all lose their memories, which I think is called Conundrum. And the Next Gen, and like there's suddenly like this alien imposter there who's also claiming to have lost their memory. So
still one of my favorite episodes, though. Yeah. Very cool episode.
It is a very cool episode. Okay, so Strange Energies.
He's McDuff, or he's the guy who didn't want to be number one under Data on the Sutherland.
Yeah, he's like,
that's even better.
Nobody thinks a Klingon would make a good counselor.
You're right, Devin.
Yeah,
that's
guy.
A good analogy. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I hated that guy too.
So maybe,
he wins the
he
comments
may be
for
less
this
prejudiced against androids. I don't want to hold that against Ransom.
Right. Well, Ransom, he doesn't like to deviate from the mission.
I told you not to deviate from the mission.
And we also got to meet this other character, Stevens. He's Lieutenant Commander Steve Stevens, and he seems to be in love with Ransom. There's a couple of clips where he was just like, "Get away from me, Stevens!" Here.
Have Stevens grab him. He's your little buddy.
He is not. Here's those pads, sir. Stack them just the way you like. Get away from me, Stevens.
And then he was ready to join the cult of Ransom.
Oh, it's true. All hail Ransom. I bow before thee, sir.
So
I'm just getting flashbacks of Nom whenever I hear all these clips. It's like, oh, this is a terrible episode.
I think Stevens is an attempt to make Ransom interesting. Like, to give him
he's
something
a little sidekick for Ransom. Yeah,
it didn't work.
Maybe
Is
not.
Ransom's best moment still the fight with the double-fisted hands and I respect your sovereignty and like that kind of stuff? I think that's
Season
probably
one?
still his best moment. Yeah,
I'd probably agree.
I don't think they've given him a better moment than that yet.
Wait,
Somebody's got some feedback going
there's
on.
some buzzing going on. Might be you, Davan.
Just start muting people until you figure it out. Yep, it's him. We like to call that the Ted Bader maneuver.
We got a couple comments here. We got Sam's in the chat. He's saying, "Yo, guys," and we got Jeremy saying, "Don't drink that Klingon tea."
No, bad idea for sure.
He thinks the Packlets are better than the Kazons. The Kazons, hands down.
Kazon.
And Sam is still holding out for the Gilligan's Island podcast announcement. It's coming, Sam. Don't worry. Don't worry. The show's not going anywhere. It's
just so you guys know, I don't need an invite for that.
You don't need to be on the. My dad will be all over it though. Don't worry. We just gotta get him through the original series first. Like,
well, he's gonna need something to do.
Yeah, he will.
We're almost out of episodes.
Yeah. All right, so let's I think we've said all we need to say maybe about Strange Energies, which was those were like the main highlights I thought of that. So did you just want to? We can rate this episode and move on to episode 2.
Sure.
So Kevin, you want to give your rating first?
7.5.
7.5. It is.
Kevin, I'm disappointed with you.
That's low for lower.
I'm not gonna lie. You know what? Re-talking about this, I'm gonna give it an extra half point, so it's gonna be a 6.5 from me.
6.5. Okay, and that brought the average right back to where it was at 7. So you two canceled each other out.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So that's kept it kind of where it was. Let's move on to episode 2, which was called Kayshawn, His Eyes Open. So this has the most hits of any podcast we did this year so far. And this was kind of an exciting episode because we kind of had a sense of what it was going to be coming in, where we got to meet this new character, Kayshawn, who was replacing Shax, who had died at the end of season 1, or had he? Well, he had, but it's kind of a long story. And we got, these were kind of like a whole reference to like the Temerians. Do I have some of those?
Darmok.
Where is he?
Darmok Ashihad.
Darmok and Julad at Tanagra.
At Tanagra.
Timber is arms wide.
Right. So in this
Great
episode, there's quite a few plots in this episode to kind of break through, because this was also, there was a cliffhanger at the end of Strange Energies, was like, what's Boimler doing over there on the Titan with Riker? And we found out kind of quickly. Not so much.
Wasn't it just like wasn't it just a clip of him like, ah, and that was like the end of it?
Yeah, it was basically like the end of episode 1 was like, oh my god!
Yeah, he's just freaking out.
He's like not having a good time. Not the adventure perhaps he was truly looking for. So after so we start off in the teaser with Mariner and Rutherford and Tendi. They're all headed to the sonic showers before their shift. So there's this whole thing where they were all kind of naked coming in, and I don't know if we have any photos from that, but
I don't know if we can show it, Dave.
I don't know if I have it or not. But
you took off your fanfic one, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, but guys, so it was, and they were also, they were all naked together in the showers, in the sonic showers. And then we had Ensign Jet Manhaver. He's kind of big in this episode, actually. And she's kind of trying to integrate Jet for a bit. She's like, well, maybe you can be the new Boimler, but I'm the leader. And he's like, what are you talking about, leader? And then she's kind of missing Boimler. He was uncomfortable with nudity, but he was the only one, and he's not here. And he's like, I'm not Boimler. I'm Manhaver. I'm Jet Manhaver. We also had this whole thing with this plot line with the collectors. And there was this ship where after Kayshawn joins the crew, where there's a collector who died, kind of like a Kivas Fajo character from Star Trek The Next Generation, who was played by... the
guy
actor,
who
right?
stole
Saul
Data.
Rubinek.
Saul Rubinek.
Saul Rubinek.
Great Canadian actor, Saul Rubinek. So like there's this whole thing where a collector died, but there's booby traps, and they have to kind of get out of here. And there's a lot of competition in this episode between Jet, Manhaver, and Mariner, kind of coming out of those shower scenes. Meanwhile, there's also all this stuff on the Titan that's going on. They're fighting Pakleds. Boimler is overwhelmed. He's he's trying to fit in with the crew of the Titan, but it's not going so well. He's not fitting in completely.
I have to ask the panel, does anybody actually care about Boimler during this episode? Because I literally even thought he was even more annoying in this episode alone out of any other episode.
Now, are we talking about Bradward Boimler or William?
Well, that's true. Yeah, I guess I have to explain. The Titan one, which one was it? Well, I guess it would be the actual one.
Well, this was the episode where he does get separated, right? Or
that's right.
Into the two versions.
Hey,
Is it in
Cap,
this
the name
episode or
Brad
next
just
one?
feels kind of meh.
Is it this episode or the next one?
I thought it was in this one.
Oh, I could be wrong.
This one.
I think
Is
it's
it
pretty
this
sure
one?
it's this one. Yeah. Right.
The best thing about this episode is all the callbacks. Like
Right.
there's billions of callbacks in this episode.
he gets sent on Boimler gets sent on this undercover mission, and there's like all these other officers. You can see some of them here in the clip here, but they were kind of like, what was it like to be on the Enterprise D? And that must have been so boring on that ship. What a Marriott Convention Center. And they were kind of throwing shade at like Next Generation a bit.
How fun could it be? They had string quartets.
That was a great
That was
line.
great.
Yeah, and they brought up Thomas Riker. I don't know how many times before they created William Boimler, like his transporter duplicate.
You kind of saw that one coming though. At that
Yeah,
point.
I was
yeah,
like,
you're
they
right. Now I
referenced
remember
him
that. Yeah.
way too many times. And so like there's this whole thing where he goes on the away mission with like the group, and they're calling it out, and they're making the Thomas Riker references, and they get trapped at one point, and they're all like, we're just gonna have to die here. Like they're kind of like these like other type of Starfleet officers. They want to be like action heroes, right? And they're, but what ends up happening is that Boimler just ends up giving like this whole speech about how like Starfleet, it can be boring, and like a lot of the things that I didn't join just to fight things. I joined to explore.
I didn't join Starfleet to get in phaser fights. I signed up to
Here's a question.
explore, to be out in space making new discoveries and peaceful diplomatic solutions. That's boldly going.
That's boldly going.
Here's a question for the panel. Is Captain Riker way cooler than Commander Riker? Because Captain Riker's super
undoubtedly.
enthusiastic about everything, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I think he is. I think the age and the rank has made him even cooler. Riker was already pretty cool, though. Like, let's be honest.
But now he just gets to unleash his full Rikerness.
And even like elderly Riker, like in Picard, was still probably the best part of that episode of Picard.
Right. He was like,
Give me warp in the factor of 5, 6, 7, 8.
Too cool for school.
I'm starting to think this jam session's got too many licks and not enough comp.
he's
Or you
like,
just like punch me in a hole.
Someone punch me a way out. Punching.
Yeah, that's it.
they're like,
Riker is definitely the shining star of this episode for sure.
yeah, there's a lot of great Riker stuff at the end of season 1 and into the season 2. And of course, there is eventually the Boimler transporter duplicate that's created out of this. What do I have that?
Which I think is literally the laziest part of this episode.
I think it's maybe over here. Sorry,
Like,
he's already in order.
we need to put Boimler back on the other ship. How do we do that?
Right, and we end up getting the creation of William Boimler. I have so many clips; it's hard even to pull them up quickly.
Which I'm sure they'll do something
Oh,
with in subsequent seasons.
Oh yeah. Which Next Gen never really did, but
Yeah.
Bradward will
Right.
die, and they'll replace him again with William, and he'll start calling himself Bradward again.
Well, for a long
I'm the
time,
transporter clone.
I was thinking that that the one on the Cerritos was William Boimler because he was so good at fighting the Borg.
true.
That's true.
Spleetus of Borg remembers this.
And you know what? I'd love to be in a string quartet. I love that when Riker was on the Enterprise, he was out there jamming on the trombone and catching love disease and acting in plays and meeting his identical transporter clone Thomas.
Of course, and but he, and then he chooses the name William Boimler. Where's that?
Hey, Cap, the name Brad just feels kind of meh to me now. What do you think of William Boimler?
I love it.
He's like,
All
how
right.
often does Riker clean his trombone? He's like, constantly. It's actually a bit of a distraction.
I think it might be time to move
Oh,
on.
constantly. It's actually distracting how much he cleans that trombone.
What would that be?
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. And then I'm back on the whole plot line with Jet and Mariner, and like they eventually come together and they kind of figure some things out. We didn't talk a ton about that because I feel like actually the stuff with Boimler is actually made the better stuff of the episode because we don't get a ton of this new character Kayshawn. He's trying to kind of turn into a puppet pretty early in this episode. What else we got? This whole plot line where they have to kind of escape from the dead collector's ship. Yeah, it's all right, but I don't remember it a ton. Do you guys?
I remember it. I only remember it for all the cool shit in the background.
Yeah, just a lot of
that's-
references.
And how they all tried to collect data.
Yes.
Yeah, uses of Chateau Picard, all kinds of different Easter eggs thrown in here. We also know that that you got to look out for those pips, right? Because sometimes they are not.
Sometimes they're just corn.
Sometimes they're just corn.
Half the time when you see someone with wrong amount of pips around here, it's usually just delicious street corn.
Yeah,
Delicious street corn.
coming from the
I don't know how I feel about street
Matthew
corn, Dave.
McConaughey of Star Trek.
All right.
Jet. And then Boimler does the original Boimler does come back after this whole scene of the street corn, right? He comes back up. Kayshawn was no longer a puppet. That was easy for Dr. Tiana to send him back. And he simply says, "Well, Shaka when the walls fell," and he enjoys his drink.
This is not the first time I've had someone turned into a puppet. He'll be all right in an hour.
He'll be all right. That was not so bad. Apparently, but Counselor Miglamo, the Birdman, he had played with the puppet a little bit excessively before he had been restored. Anyway, let's get a rating in here for Kayshawn. His eyes open. Kevin, you want to go first?
Sure. The same, 7.5.
Okay. We were at 8.1 before, Jody. So now Kevin's brought the rating down.
I'm going to bring it down a bit because I think this is a 7.5 as well. Yeah, I agree with Kevin on that one.
7.5.
It's better than the previous one, but it still isn't up at past that 8 mark for me.
That's all right. Let's well, we're getting the rounded out panel here. Okay, let's go to episode 3, which was called "We'll Always Have Tom Paris." As you may guess, it was about Tom Paris. So with this one, let me just pull a few things up here. But we'll go to the plot line first. So Mariner and Tendi team up for a mission to retrieve an heirloom for Dr. Tiana. Meanwhile, the Cerritos is visited by Lieutenant Tom Paris, much to the excitement of Boimler, who is hoping to meet him because he collects all the collectible plates, you know. While all this happens, Rutherford is haunted by the mystery surrounded by the reappearance of a familiar presence. Who could that be? Spoiler.
The best character in the damn show, that's who.
Best character in the whole show. I tend to agree. And, well, the funniest.
Especially the person that has the best one-liners, anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Where's my... I'm just... So, maybe just... Davan, did you like this episode?
I liked that episode. I enjoyed all the nods to Voy, you know.
Of course, you know.
Boy?
Well, that's what you
I call it
say
Boy.
to... I call, you know...
It really is a time saver.
Yeah.
Time saver.
But not when you have to repeat yourself because people are like, "What's Voy?" And then you have to explain that, and that's longer than Voy.
Some of us barely acknowledge that show exists. Anyway,
I like Voy.
Sorry, I was just trying to find...
I like Enterprise, and I get shafted for it all the time. So
I like Enterprise too. It's good.
You might...
Kevin's gonna like Enterprise.
This is a good one.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
This wasn't a very memorable episode, really, other than just like the Tom Paris stuff. And
yeah, like to me,
him talking to the plates.
I like the other. I like the other story.
Oh wait,
with,
this is
Tiana, or like I really like
the one
Dr.
where
Tiana.
she's getting the sex statue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh wait a
That,
minute.
to
Yeah,
me,
you're
was a
right.
much
There's
better
some good
plot.
stuff there.
Yeah.
Girls pee.
Right. Yeah, we had the
Of course,
whole
Quark's
Girls pee.
franchise in there.
What do we got in this one? Looks like we got some strange energies. We got Get Away From Me, Stevens. I collect all.
You know, Quark's franchising shortly after DS9 makes a lot of sense, considering Rom gave him all that money in the last episode. All that will happen.
To me, this episode is great, but the Tom Paris thing should have just been a little tiny bit of it. And we didn't need all of it because it just runs out at the end. Like, by the time you're done the episode, you're just like, okay, I'm definitely done with Tom Paris. And I actually like the Tom Paris character.
This was I lost it. I lost what I was going to say.
Him jumping into a fight because he thinks he's a Kazon or whatever is pretty hilarious.
This was another episode that made me think that this was that Boimler was William Boimler because the ship doesn't recognize him.
Nobody knows the Cerritos like Bradward Boimler.
Nobody knows the Cerritos. He was having this whole thing where the ship didn't know who he was and everything was going wrong. None
of the doors would open, which makes no sense at all in the future. But
emergency shutdown, the authorization not recognized. You don't need authorization for emergency.
It's an emergency.
This Boimler theory of Kevin's is going to come to a crescendo by episode 10 here tonight, and it's going to blow our minds.
Yeah, very much so. Kevin might be onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I agree that like the Tom Paris stuff is like he's here and it's Robert Duncan McNeil doing the voice and everything, but like this is he's not as fun of a character as Riker being here.
It's so stretched out and just boring.
Captain Proton himself, Lieutenant Tom Paris.
How the fuck does he know he was Captain Proton? That's what I want to know.
Boimler and Mariner know everything that happened on every ship.
Voyager goes back. They finally get back home, and the first thing they decide to share is what Tom Paris was doing in a fucking
on the holodeck.
Yeah,
right?
okay, whatever.
He's a celebrity.
Okay.
I guess. It's and he collects the plates.
I collect all sorts of plates.
For
And I love Voy.
Yes, the Captain Proton plate.
It really does save time, though.
It really does.
Yeah.
Even on Voy. Wow, that does actually save a ton of time.
Yeah, let's also talk about the whole like the girls' trip part of this, which was Mariner and Tendi on a girls' trip.
This is the Winter Constellations one too, isn't it?
Yes, that's
Yes.
from.
This
Tendi's
is a
cousin.
good episode, actually. Yeah.
Anything for you, mistress of the winter constellations.
I like this one.
Yeah, this is the whole thing where they think that they're going because Tiana, her fur was feeling like poison.
My fur feels like it's covered in poison.
And they had to go get the.
It's a Cation libido post.
They had to get the Cation libido post. It was actually the box she ended up wanting. But I thought that this pairing was really good. I thought that this whole mission, the whole thing where they went to the Orion base, and Tendi was like, well, there's a lot of stigma around Orions, but
There's still a lot of stigma around Orions. A lot of humans think we're all thieves and pirates. Wait, my cousin works in a thieves' den and a pirate outpost in this sector. He might be able to help us out.
Yar ye matey.
yeah.
Just talk like a pirate.
And there was like her cousin. That was one of the sexy bad boys that they were into, or she was into. Yeah, and so I thought this was a really one of the stronger episodes, but not because it's Tom Paris. It's more because there's a great plot line I think here with Mariner and Tendi, who hadn't been teamed up that much at this point. Boimler's stuff is funny, like where he's just getting like trapped in the different sections, and the other whole plot line, of course, was around Rutherford. I don't even think we have any pictures of that actually, but it had to do with Shax is back from the dead. And
he sees dead people.
Is that in this episode too? Man, I forgot this episode entirely.
Yeah, it's in this episode that Shax returns.
That place did take a lot out of me, but not my killer serve.
And when I like how everyone's like, you can't ask them about how they died.
Oh, Shax is back? Didn't you die? How the heck did you come back to life?
He's like, crewman, Lieutenant Junior Grade Cody, you can't be doing that. You need to get out of here later on. And then Shax, he's running into Rutherford, who's like, you saved my life. What happened? Everything else. And he's like, we are sparing you from the dark truths.
We're sparing you dark truths about scientific depravity that would haunt you for the rest of your days. Once you know, you can never go back to being the man you were before.
Works for me.
The thing that I think they missed on this episode that they could have easily done was make it so Shax is some sort of clone that the Romulan Empire has made. Just to like kind of call everything back. That would have been awesome.
So were you okay with the fact that they brought him back to life with
absolutely
sort of
he's a character that should have never died.
And I like more that there's no real explanation.
Yeah, well, the mystery is kind of fun. Yeah, because you're
Isn't
like,
that like
the joke is that bridge crew always come back.
They're like, bridge crew always come back. There's the whole thing where Mariner's like, yeah, whatever. Like they come back to life all the time. It's what they do.
Maybe they'll address in later episodes that Starfleet has a cloning program.
It's called the Black Mountain.
Called the Black Mountain.
You do know about the Black Mountain,
The what now?
The Black Mountain is a spiritual battleground. Your soul goes.
It's a spiritual battle.
Maybe Black Mountain is run by Tasha Yar. That'd be better.
Maybe with
a clone of Tasha Yar.
Yeah, and so anyway, like Jeff, I remember there was just you and I, Davan, when we did this podcast, and Jeff, who loves Shax, he missed it. He was like, as you can see, he gave this a well, no, you can't see because I fit in his column, but Jeff gave this a 10 this episode. So just to keep that in context,
you just hid your wife. That wasn't cool.
Well, I had to unhide her to bring Jeff's back. Anyway, anyway, that was so we can. So we'll always have Tom Paris. Right now, between the 4 people who have already submitted votes, 9.1. It was pretty a bit of a lift from the first 2 epides. Do you agree?
A lot of drugs you guys were taking.
Do you agree, Kevin?
I do. I would give this a 9.
A 9, and Jody is probably not going as high as a 9.
Not with you on that. I'm going to give this a. You know what? I'll give it an 8 because there is a lot of good stuff in it, especially the sex token thing was probably the best part of the whole thing. Especially how it ended, where she literally just wanted to sit in the box. Like that's the best part.
Yeah, she's like, screw the post. I just want.
Yeah, I don't even want this. I just want the box. It's like, oh, she is a cat, basically.
Okay, let's talk about episode 4, which was called Mugadu Gumado. This was the one where they go to the sanctuary, which is run by a bunch of Ferengis. And let's just kind of remind ourselves what happened in this episode. So, if you know, Jody, we do the original series podcast, and there was a lot of references here to the Mugato, who had previously appeared in an episode called something.
Played by a dog, wasn't it?
It would look like this in the original series.
That's right. Yeah, okay.
It was like an actor in like a
looked
suit.
like that dog that they transported.
It looked like the dog that was in a different one, yeah.
The Mugato first appeared in what? I just got it's an episode called. It's called A Private Little War.
Oh yes. Yep.
So the Mugato, so the Cerritos in this episode, they're dispatched to a. There we go. The Cerritos is dispatched to a planet to investigate an unexplained sighting of the dangerous Mugato. Did you know, Jody, that you can pronounce their names in many different ways?
No, I did not.
There's
So I was reading up on the Mugatos. Did you know they have alternative pronunciations? Mugatu, Mugutu, and Gumado? Isn't that neat and inconsistent?
And Shax is going to say them all.
He's going to say, oh, you can't do these with these Gumados or these Mugotus and these Mugutus. And yeah.
Fresh, tangy.
Yeah, they're poop. So in this one, there's this whole. So there was the beginning of the scene was like Boimler and Rutherford, and they're doing a just a fun game of Ambujitsu. Just for kicks. Innocent there.
The greatest
that one
test of skill known to man.
The greatest skill.
Is that the Riker and his dad one?
Yeah.
Yes, that was the one where they were like fighting like with. It's kind of like I don't even know what to compare it to. Ambujitsu.
It reminds me of American Gladiators.
Yeah,
it's kind of like an American Gladiator kind of futuristic thing, right? And like there was this one point where they actually get a blow in on Mariner, and she was like, "Oh, good," and then they're like, "Oh shit." And
yeah, she's got a little S&M kind of thing going on with her.
Yeah, they're not going so well. Here it is.
Nothing like some friendly Ambujitsu to work up a sweat.
Yeah. And then, that was the cold open. Then we go to that planet, which is called Fryland 4, and there's like these 2 Denoblian researchers there. We saw like they do the whole puff fish thing, with their faces, just like Phlox from Enterprise. Right, Jody?
Indeed.
One
of the best characters on Enterprise, actually. Which isn't saying much, let's be honest. But...
Right. And then we kind of jump right into the mission at this point with where they send Shax to lead the away mission, and he's on it with Mariner and.
Was this the one with Patengi?
Oh yeah, we had the whole bartender here. So there's this whole bartender named Honus, right? Who was
Otis,
like talking about. Yeah.
Keep your pips on, Billet.
Yeah, he was the one who was like, oh, let me tell you about that mariner. She was in the Black Ops, she was, and she's been all around here, and she's a secret spy, and she's like this. Why would she make friends with the two softest guys on the ship?
He reminds me of do not light that candle.
Do not light that candle. Keep your piss on booze.
They had him voice it.
Yeah. In this episode, Tendi was dealing with this whole thing about, she was getting pushed out by these other nurses, like, let us get in there, let us do it. And Tendi had to kind of learn to assert herself more, and kind of get in there. Here.
Give me 20 cc's of space, all right?
Now that's confidence. You really showed me something today, kid.
Thank you, Doctor.
But this isn't your patient, so get the fuck out of our way.
Yes, Doctor.
That's kind of the Tendi storyline.
Tiana is my favorite. She's just Bones if Bones was a cat.
A grumpy cat.
She's literally a feline version of Bones.
Yeah. So there's like her plot line. We got the Rutherford. So Rutherford and Boimler. They're playing their game about like, let's a compromise. Like they're playing like some kind of like board games.
If both sides are equally unsatisfied with the negotiation, you can close the deal. Ready for final offers? I don't like it.
I guess I can live with that.
That's a compromise!
Yeah. There's not a lot of this.
You clearly enjoyed this more than I did.
I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I thought there was a lot of funny jokes in this episode. Everything with Shax and the.
No weapons. These Magutus are endangered, and their genitals are sensitive to phaser fire.
The second time they find the pile of shit and he goes to eat it, and she's just like, we get the point. Like, we know where he's going. You don't really.
I want to know.
Tangy.
I want to know what animals aren't subject to phaser fire on their testicles.
Yeah, their genitals are sensitive to phaser fire.
Like, which ones aren't sensitive? Like, is there some in this universe where, like, literally they can take phaser fire to the crotch and it's fine?
Not the Mugutus.
Well, we're gonna never know. We're gonna never know. And that's
definitely
the problem
not
I have.
Not these guys. They can't handle it, according to Shax. He's an expert. So they kind of go through the woods. Yeah, he eats quite a bit of Mugutu dung. But they eventually find these Ferengis, and they're running like this ring where they're taking their horns or poaching them basically. And there's kind of a fight, and
Just how I like it. Backs against the wall.
And this whole fight breaks out, and there's one part where like I think Shax gets he gets stung by the venom of the Magutu, but and Mariner has to like suck it out, but they think she's sucking his blood out, and there's kind of this misunderstanding where most of the Starfleet officers get captured, but because Rutherford and Boimler ran away, they don't. And I guess Mariner does get away for a bit before she's eventually captured as well. But yeah, like so there's like kind of like that whole thing, and so it's up to Boimler and Rutherford to kind of save the day, and there's this whole thing here. And they're going through the woods. They do find that guy who was like a Steve Irwin kind of character for
Patingi.
No, I don't write, mate. I've read 5 books on Mugeos.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I figured I knew enough to walk amongst them. Oh. See? I'm not one of their own.
That was the end of him. I don't know. Something about this episode really made me laugh quite a bit. Just some of the jokes that they threw in here. It was great having Shax back in action for this.
Ferengi with their whips again.
The Ferengis with their whips. She's like, you're like some last outpost Ferengis. You're not even like good Ferengis, And then she's like just throwing shade at them. Like, why don't you just replicate stuff?
You guys can just replicate stuff, right? Like the stuff you buy with Latinum, you can just replicate. You guys are dumb.
Yeah, and then there's just the whole thing with like how Rutherford and Boimler, they basically solve it by like, why don't we just make a business pitch to these Ferengi, and it works.
What if I told you you could earn 150% more Latinum with live Magados rather than dead ones?
And we also got more about the whole like Tiana and Shax's romance, right? Where when they finally do get back to the ship.
Mukutu venom can have latent effects, so I'll need to check on you later. in your quarters. I just got my physical. I could heal you all night.
Oh my god, this is the one with the physical too. That's my favorite part. It's like she resists like a cat trying to get a bath. I love that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of fun. Like, who wrote this episode? I need to look back. This was Ben Rogers, who does the voice of Stevens. You know, the one who loves Ransom. Anyway, Ben Rogers does the voice of this one. Okay, let's give a rating to this one. Kevin, Mugato Gumato.
Another 9.
Another 9. Jody?
I'm still 8 on this one.
All right, we're going to move on to episode 5, which was called An Embarrassment of Duplers. How embarrassing it is, quite frankly, to
your paw is weak and it disgusts me. I want that on a t-shirt.
I know I got that somewhere.
Why do we encourage him? We're like 5 episodes in.
Your paw is weak and it disgusts me.
All right, let's talk about An Embarrassment of Duplers, which doesn't feel that long ago, Davan, that we watched this, but I guess it was over 5 weeks.
5 weeks ago.
Not my favorite.
Yeah,
not my favorite.
So in this one, Mariner,
the
premise is Mariner and Boimler try to track down the location of a legendary Starfleet party while the bridge crew deals with an insecure alien diplomat who is the Dupler to speak of. Freeman doesn't even understand, or Ransom.
How did we get on Dupler duty?
How did that happen?
The thing I love about this episode is that the whole episode just revolves around getting to a party. Like, that's the mission.
The mission is getting invited to the exclusive party that they would, and we get like more information about like the California class and the on the Starfleet officers who serve on this ship, or this class of ship, seem to be a lower class or less highly regarded group or sect
Dave,
of Starfleet.
Just so you know, Jameel's waiting to come in.
Oh, is he? No. Hey, Jaemeel.
I've been waiting for like an episode.
Hey, you gotta say something. It's not my fault. I can't see it.
I can't say anything. I actually did it in the presentation only private chat, and that was ignored as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's one waiting.
There we go.
I have it on the other one so I can see all the viewer comments.
Yeah. No. Well, welcome, Jaemeel. Sorry. Welcome.
I missed you, Jaemeel.
Did you have something to say about An Embarrassment of Duplers or any of the episodes before that we?
Previous episode was enjoyable. The whole mispronunciation was because of Bones. We mentioned it during the episode when we initially reviewed it. Duplers, I liked it because it reminded me of John Lovitz. Like they just got a sub in for John Lovitz in there. And for a tender while, the critic came back for a little bit.
Oh no! I duplicated! This is so embarrassing!
See, to me, the reference of that, Jaemeel, I think you're right, but unfortunately it's the cameo on The Simpsons version of the critic.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't like. So but
right.
You've always got a little bit of Jay Sherman in your life. It stinks. It stinks.
We also have like this whole plot line with Rutherford and Tendi in this episode, right? Because they're building this like the model Cerritos together, and I guess they did this in season 1, but we didn't see it. And because Rutherford lost all his memory, he starts to get confused when he finds like these instructions that he's written to himself, and he doesn't know what they mean. And Tendi's kind of trying to, get him off the scent. And I guess what we find out is that she just wanted this to kind of go on and on. She was just trying to drag it out, or I guess they both were. Is that what happened?
Yeah. Like he purposely put confusing instructions to make sure that he never completed it, because part of the whole thing is just spending the time doing it. I wholeheartedly understand Rutherford. One of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy VII, and to the point where I've actually never beaten the game, I just restart the game. I've never
I've had
finished
that same problem.
I just
did as well.
Yeah.
I enjoy
got to the third
experience.
disc though.
Yeah, third disc multiple times. I just enjoy sometimes the destination isn't as important as the journey.
Maybe it's not
Very
the
much.
destination. Maybe it's the journey.
I
Also,
agree.
Okay, who else we got? We also had
Let's
Boimler
dive
and
into the unknown.
Boimler and Mariner in this one. So they're all trying to get to the party, right? And and Mariner's like, they only invite people from capital ships, like the Titan, I guess, whatever. And she's like, well, what about your duplicate, who he throws a lot of shame at, William Boimler. They already don't get along. You never get along with your transporter duplicate, do you? But they're like, well, you can impersonate him because he's occupied with the Packlets on the other side of the system or something. So they come up with this whole plan. I even like there was even this whole reference where like, well, were we wear our dress uniforms? And they get the scants out, and she's like, nobody wears those.
Nobody
anymore.
wears those anymore.
I liked those. The
scants.
The scants. I was for them, but so I don't have a lot of sound clips from this episode, but there's definitely...
That's a shame.
You don't like the sound.
There was a lot of sequences I enjoyed about this. One, the animation really stands out, especially with the chase sequence. You're kind of like, I was kind of taken aback.
Oh, in the car, yeah, that is pretty cool.
It's pretty like, they could have half-assed it, but no, they put in the work there. There was a kind of enjoyable sequence of I believe the gentleman raking in the park. That sequence was pretty enjoyable. The ending kind of pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. I didn't mind.
Oh, the aviary. That's right.
The
aviary. I didn't find this episode too bad. In retrospect, the back half of the season is much stronger than the first half, but I found that the season as a whole, especially even up to this point, was a lot more enjoyable and consistently enjoyable in comparison to the up and down mess that was the first season. And sometimes I like a mess, but I also like a more steady incline.
Right. Yeah. There was also like the Miserian, who he was trying to get them to smuggle, what was it, Bubble Bath? Commander Data Bubble Bath in this? In this episode.
Well, it could have been lore though.
Could have been.
There was a couple lores.
Yeah. We see appearance of Quark's bar franchise.
We do.
Yeah.
There's a lot like on the
For
chase
the second time.
And they eventually end up at this other bar, which Kirk and we have here the whole Kirk and Spock carved in there, and then their names right next to it, which is kind of my favorite part of the episode is sort of like how it ends, because there's this whole thing where they were able to get the duplers to stop duplicating based on insulting them, because if you try to tiptoe around them, it doesn't work so much. So that's where we had your paw is weak and it disgusts me.
Yeah.
Your paw is weak.
Who do you think
and it disgusts me?
Who do you think carved that, Kirk or Spock?
Kirk.
Yeah. Do you
Spock
find
would have
that
did a better job?
It's always the person first. The first person writes the names. You don't write. You don't write somebody else's name first and then
Since
go.
when is this a rule?
I just don't think you would.
Unless it's a couple.
Well,
maybe
it could have been. Kirk would go any way you wanted. Let's be honest.
Are we shipping Mariner and Boimler?
Dave has 5 books on carving things into wood.
Well, he's read 5 books.
Yes,
he's read
and the
5
Wikipedias.
Books.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
I've read all the wikis on them as well.
Of course.
Now, what other duo do you think would have visited this bar as well?
Chief and Bashir.
Okay. O'Brien and Bashir would visit it. Maybe
Tom Paris,
Paris and Kim, Proton and Buster themselves. That's it.
That's
maybe Archer
and Porthos.
Archer and I was gonna say Archer and Tucker.
No, Tucker is too busy.
He's too busy.
Yeah.
That and he's dead.
It's a bit of
He's dead.
All right,
Spoilers.
let's give Kevin and Jody. So, how do you guys want to rate an Embarrassment of Duplers?
8.5.
Again, I don't know what drugs you're on, but I want some. I'm gonna do 7.5 on that one.
You're only separated by a half a point. I don't know if it's drugs are needed.
If you just focus on the guy raking leaves,
We're separated by 1 point.
1 point.
If you know how numbers work, Dave.
If you know how numbers work.
You got a bloody Excel spreadsheet here, Dave. Come on.
All right, let's talk about The Spy Humongous, which is the 6th episode of season 2. What would be a good image? Okay, so this is the one with the club. They're called the Red Shirts.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is where the season started getting better.
Yeah. Right. There was
ever Jennifer.
Especially Jennifer. Jennifer is the best character they added.
What do you want, Jennifer?
That's who I'm shipping.
Yeah, she's great.
Mariner and Jennifer.
So rumor has it she's going to have a much bigger part in next season.
She seemed to be like there's a few of these, like even this guy who was like he was set up in season 1. I can't even remember his name.
No one cares.
No one cares.
It's just
yeah.
The Jennifer is much better.
What do you want, Jennifer?
Okay, so let's talk about this one. This had a lot of good things in it, I thought. So the Spy Humongous, which is the main promise, is there's an anomaly consolidation day on the USS Cerritos. This leaves the lower deckers kind of to do some work they're not too excited to be doing, which is kind of like taking all the scientific samples that are kind of been left and to deal with it all. Meanwhile, we also have this plot line where it's Captain Freeman. She's been assigned to talk to the Paclids on Paclid Planet, as it's known. Which they
what else are they going to call it? Planet?
Which they call Paclid Planet.
Makes sense.
Starfleet entrusted me with this mission.
Janeway.
Yeah, we. Oh, I have that. Don't worry.
You beat Janeway.
You Janeway.
We tricked you, Janeway. We never wanted peace. Rumdar was a spy. What did you learn, spy? The Enterprise has the biggest bathrooms ever.
So great.
The sad thing is, I actually watched a video today that actually mentioned the bathrooms on the bridge of the Enterprise D. I don't know why, but they did.
Yeah,
they had 2 sinks. 2 sinks and a toilet, Dave.
Was there 3 seashells?
No.
Oh, that's demolition.
No sonic shower? What if you need
no
to freshen up?
seashells, no communal showers.
No sonic shower off the bridge, no.
Lost my place here. Your pause.
Sorry,
Bet you there's 3 on the captain's yacht.
Ooh.
Get off my yacht. Right. So everything here with the we tricked you, Janeway, and there's a lot of good stuff here. But Davan, like thinking about how this season ended, with like Freeman gets framed for destroying Paclid Planet. Does it give this episode any
Call
more
back
weight?
to this episode.
Yeah, it is a big call.
Yeah, I think it does actually.
If Gomez doesn't come
That's what
back,
I'm
I'm
watching.
rioting. I'm just letting you know. I love Sonia Gomez.
Yeah.
She
Why Sonia Gomez?
Because she was like a crush of mine when I watched it originally.
Aww.
Oh, for sure, man. She was like, oh, look at that girl.
Aww.
2 episodes we got of her in TNG, you know. Not just 1, 2.
Used to spill coffee on himself.
Hot chocolate. Hot chocolate. Not coffee.
Jaemeel, similar question. Just with the whole plot line of the Paclids and their ongoing roles and antagonist, and like this particular episode, because there's Rumdar, who claims to be this guy seeking exile, but they kind of figure out, he's like, why don't you take me to the warp core? Why don't you show me your shields?
Codes now?
Can I get your codes now? Right? And we talked about a little bit of this at the time, but we kind of enjoyed Ransom teamed up with Kayshawn in this episode.
That was also good too.
The fact that like they were kind of like this idiot duo who were supposed to watch Rumdar, and they're like, they turn around and he was using the biggest bathrooms ever because he just went
to
airlock.
Airlock, and found himself.
They wouldn't even give that poor Packlet a Rito shirt.
A Rito. They wouldn't even give him a Ritos. They gave him the US. They gave him the full brand with the silhouette.
I think the Ritos is for the crew.
They give those away.
You got to be a crew member to get a Rito shirt.
Yeah, I think you got to be a crew member for sure. Does anybody have a problem with how this series portrays the Packlets, though?
No, I like it a lot.
There's a Packlet stands that are just like, this is unfair.
The problem that I have is the Packlet episodes in Next Gen.
There's only one.
They even go, well, yeah, that's true. But they even say it's not that they're stupid, it's just they don't have the communication skills. But yet they're portrayed as stupid in this. Like really dumb. Like
Red alarm. Red alarm. Red alarm.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
Yeah, I would agree with you that they were trying to soften maybe how dumb they were in that one episode they appear in, and Lower Decks is like, no, they're just a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of stupid guys who can't even name a fucking planet correctly.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, what's wrong with being called Packlet
Planet?
Which they call Packlet planets.
What's wrong with that name?
Just
if they're simple, that makes perfect sense.
Hey,
sounds better than green.
Hey, those miners are stealing our snacks!
In this series, they're portrayed as all Forrest Gumps.
Yeah.
And in the original series episode, you figure out that it's just they don't know how to communicate. But yet they are smart.
Well, they're not necessarily smart. They're just not complete.
Yeah,
they can run a spaceship.
They're resourceful.
They could get into space. They clearly have something going on.
But they steal most of it, don't they?
So they're resourceful.
Fuck, humans couldn't even get into space for a while. Like, come on.
I'm just saying we could have named our planet Ground. So
we did
not. Well, a different name, but it could have been just Ground.
It is
right?
technically
Earth
ground.
Right. So Packlet Planet isn't
firm ground.
All right. Obviously, I care more about the Packlets than the rest of you. Let's move on.
It's a beautiful planet and culture, Jody. We met the first Packlet woman in this episode, the Packlet Queen.
Yes.
Before she's killed, but then there's like the Packlet King that comes, and then the
My
Packlet
helmet is not big enough.
My helmet is not big enough for that. I need a bigger helmet. And when we did the Star Trek Radio Theater, I think that the fact that we cast Chris Seymour as the Packlet was like well, and Kevin played the other Packlet, but but it was.
But
just
if you did an episode of this, it would be insulting for Chris to do this.
Maybe.
I think
Chris
he was
is
not dumb. So
yeah, well,
correct. He is not dumb.
He's not dumb.
He just does a lot of foolish things,
and has
enjoy his life. Sometimes
he has some opinions that are.
Yes,
unique,
yes.
But I digress. And just so everything with the Packlets, like I don't know, like if they want to try to portray their softer or more intellectual side in the future, I'm sure. Or their more nuanced side or some diversity amongst their culture, sure. Like just like not all Klingons are the same either. So these are the particular Packlets we're meeting. Let's talk about the others. Let's go talk about the storyline that's going on with basically it's a Tendy's enthusiasm versus Rutherford and Mariner, right? Because we find out that she actually got them this assignment, which is kind of like the garbage duty of being on Starfleet. It's like random sample day, and you got to go around and take these samples that have been collected, and they could all do things. Like one tried to turn Rutherford into a balloon man. There was like this slug that tried to eat Tendy, and eat Tendy and pooped her out, right?
Yes.
There was just all these things, and then she eventually turns into a scorpion for part of this episode. Just kind of, she gets her enthusiasm gets squashed, but it actually ends up being Boimler who gets her out of it by just being a fool and making her laugh, because it been set up earlier in the episode that when he got sprayed with the food dispenser, the replicator, that just cracked her up when she gets there. You can see a little bit of that here on his shirt. And this is when he got recruited to the red shirts, which is the other plot line of this episode. So all these three things are kind of all happening together. And I think that's maybe one of the stronger parts of this episode, is that like all three of these storylines really are distinct in my mind about how I remember them from this 22 minutes. I thought that just the whole thing with him in this episode, where he gets like the shoulder pads and the muscle suits that like all the TNG guys had to wear under their uniforms, and the hair, and he gives that like speech on the bridge. But then there's like the whole thing like, well, you got to look at who these captains keep around them, and you don't want to be with those crew, referring to Tendi and Rutherford and the rest of them. We're in Starfleet, but they work in Starfleet, or whatever the hell they say. We're the red shirts, man. It makes us sound invincible. Like we can't get defeated. But that, the Boimler, they think that it's all about inspirational speeches and things. And when things when the whole thing with Tendi happens and she turns into the Scorpion, they're like, watch out, everybody. I will give you a speech. And you see like everyone's like eyes like getting glossy, and they're all like, ooh, tell us how to do this, and then Boimler's like, what are you doing? We're inspiring the crew. And he's like, we are the crew. And like, this is where
You're the same rank.
We're the same rank. What are you talking about? Right. But this is like, I think I find it relatable, because it just speaks to how people are ambitious without sort of any kind of plan or goal in their careers. And so,
but also when you have that group that you're working with, and it's like everyone has their own job, but one group thinks that they're so much better than everyone else, and you're like, no, bro, you just do that specific job, like, but we're the same. Don't have it, mistaken. And of course, when push comes to shove, they suck, right? And everyone else has to pick up their slack. So it's just like real life.
It is just like real life. You're right. Exactly.
My real life.
Middle management, IT.
I had an IT issue yesterday where I'm like, hey, how long is this problem gonna be take to solve? And he just kept looking up to me nervously, and I'm like, are you gonna tell me? Yeah, it's like, is it gonna happen? Could it happen? Are you like able to do it? And he was like, and I'm like, screw it. And I just like bypassed him and got something.
I learned a long time in my 25 plus years of IT to listen to what Scotty says. You always quote higher than you need to. And it's totally
you always triple your repair.
Management wants everything 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Course.
You don't tell them how long it really takes to you.
You didn't tell them, did you? Of course I did.
I asked a simple question. I'm like, it's a wireless display. It's not there in the room. It should be there. Like, do you think you'll be able to hook it up? Give me a second. And I'm like, okay.
He was probably like, how do you hook up a wireless thing?
And I'm like, do you think it could happen or it's gonna happen? And he's like,
my response is, did you put a ticket in? I love that one.
Oh, ticket. I love that. And then I went into a room, I came back out, and I didn't see him. And I'm like, IT, they left us. Dude screwed us over. I didn't check behind me because that's where he was standing. At that point, I'm like, I just got to solve my own problem. So I just got a TV. I rolled a TV. I'm like, I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah, nothing makes IT guys happy than you guys doing it yourself.
Yeah, I figured out he wasn't going to help me out after I basically told him off. And I didn't see him. Like,
probably not. Well, did you prank call them like they prank called Armus, the skin of evil? Okay, so they get some kind of part of the part of what they get is out of this episode is that they get this stone they can use to prank call any planet in the galaxy. That's apparently its power. It was one of the random samples from Random Sample Day. And speaking of Tashiar, Jody, the one who killed Tashiar, Armis, they were like, why are you so dumb?
Bastard.
Yeah, he's like, I just wish I had somebody to torture. Here is he originally appeared in Star Trek: The Next Generation, just a man with
really shows you that season 1 finesse, you know.
Oh yeah, look at that production value.
That's like episode 23 or something.
Why do people like transport like urine and feces down to this?
That's awesome.
Oh, you have a figure?
I can't believe he has a figure. You know what? Your stock just went up with me, Devin.
Yeah.
My feelings are a little bit hurt because I thought my wonderful idea was getting praise, but never mind.
I'm sorry.
You were gonna get them, yeah. But anyway, just references. Let's maybe rate the Spy Humongous, which was was
going to turn into the longest episode ever
of what
of this show.
Well, yeah,
this
we're talking
podcast.
We're talking about 10 episodes in one podcast.
Indeed.
Okay.
You never listened to any of our Marvel Universe podcasts, have you?
Oh, is that still a thing? The whole Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is that still a thing?
Still a thing.
Oh, okay.
Kevin, what did you think about the Spy Humongous?
This is a 10.
A 10?
Wow. A 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my.
I only gave 110 this season. Only 110.
It's probably the best episode to do it on. I agree. But anyway. I guess you want mine. It is not a 10. I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8.
I'm giving it a lot of 8s tonight.
You're giving
it pretty high ratings. 8 isn't bad.
Your average so far, you're already beating your season 1 average.
Well, that
because
ain't hard.
This season is better than the last one.
I agree.
Okay, let's move on to episode 7. This is called Where Pleasant Fountains Lie, and this is an episode that features Lieutenant Commander Billups quite a bit.
Is this the... Oh, God, this is a terrible episode.
No!
This is the worst episode of the season.
You didn't like this episode.
Oh, this is so stupid. It's such a waste of time.
Oh, I disagree.
Anyway,
I didn't hate this, but let's break it down.
I don't like the character to begin with, so I guess that's probably part of it.
Yeah, so we meet Mariner and Boimler are stranded on an uninhabited planet in this episode with a sentient computer, which is voiced by Jeffrey Combs.
Again.
Yeah, and then on the Cerritos, Lieutenant Commander Billups must prove his engineering abilities to an old adversary. That's the teaser. So we start off with, it's Freeman and Ransom starting off this episode as we meet Agamus, which was the one that's voiced by Jeffrey Combs. Where's that?
Oh, this is great.
Computer thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh.
The evil computer. So this is at some planet that they found, and I guess they're like, we're going to take this to the Daystrom Institute, where it can go into a prison with all the other evil computers that we found over the years. And then we meet. When they get back to the ship, we also meet Queen Polonia, who turns out to be Billups' mother. She's on a ship called the Monavine, and so I guess they're humans, but they're kind of like a
humanoid.
At least humanoid. Like I'm still, according to Memory
like everybody
Alpha,
else in the galaxy.
Yeah.
According to the Memory Alpha,
I think they were humans who just were a bunch of Renfair people who went and found a colony. I think.
I don't think that there are different.
I think they're
species.
cosplayers.
Yeah, they're just
That's how I like to think of them.
A colony of humans that went off and decided to be really dedicated to Renaissance fair.
Comic-Con went really far that one year.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, Captain Freeman, our ship has got a problem. The Dragon's engine doesn't work anymore because they changed all the terms to sound like medieval times.
Instead of technobabble, they have renobabble.
They have renobabble. But this is apparently not the first time this has happened, as Freeman tells us, where Billups has. His mother's shown it before. She doesn't think he belongs to Starfleet. He's the crown prince, and she's trying to trick him into sex so that he'll have to become the king. That's the whole thing about it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, Kevin.
Stupidest plot of the season.
Did you enjoy? Did you enjoy this plot line with Billups?
No, not even a little bit. Not even.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
The more of the Jeffrey Combs
absolutely
plot line. I love that one. This garbage. Didn't like it at all.
It did seem very Rick and Morty Floopy Land-esque.
To say that though is an insult to Rick and Morty.
This kind of seems like a Rick and Morty type of thing where it's like, Rick has to go help this alternate dimension, which is a medieval one, and science isn't really science; it's medieval magic.
That sounds way better than what this is.
It seems like it's in the same vein, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I didn't feel it quite that way about it. I thought that Queen Polonia, for instance, she really reminded me of Luoxana Troy. Like she's like.
That's not selling me on it. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. What else we got here?
You don't need to kick it while it's down, Dave.
Yeah,
the Jeffrey Combs sequence is so super strong, though.
Yeah,
at the same time, and I enjoyed the
Agamus is top tier.
That's why I'm not going to kill the episode.
I enjoyed the Rutherford interactions with this weird world, as opposed to the main story of that with Billups. I like Rutherford's interaction with that scenario more so than anything, so that's why I wasn't too hard with this episode.
Yeah, let's talk about the Mariner and Boimler plotline is very different, very separate from everything going on with Billups, which is more.
Rutherford.
That's what you're looking for. Good.
Yes, Mariner and Boimler, right? Is that right?
But I like the Rutherford's interaction with the Billups's whole world.
Yeah, he's just like, well, it can be a little bit distracting, whereas.
But yeah, so let's talk about Mariner and Boimler.
Mariner and Boimler. Okay, let's talk about them. So they go on the shuttlecraft to Earth, and what was it? Boimler was going to get assigned something interesting, and Mariner kind of got in the way of that, as I recall. He was because he was going to be.
He was cleaning
a phaser rifle. Yeah, he was cleaning a phaser rifle, and he was getting ready to go on a mission to wrangle a giant centipede. But Mariner somehow.
Said, she said that he couldn't do it.
She said, "You won't be able to do this." So she got him assigned to this mission to take the Jeffrey Combs AI over to the Daystrom Institute for a bit of a trip here, which he's not too happy about. So they get on the shuttlecraft, and she's trying to cheer him up, but when they got reassigned the mission, they say, once we'll drop him off, we'll go get some Okinawa ramen. But then, as she says it, classic Starfleet shuttle crash. You're going, and I think I have a photo of the crash here. Oh,
yeah, if you're in Starfleet, why would you ever get into a shuttle?
I don't know, but it happened. Like, how many times have we seen this scene in Star Trek? We're like, we're on a shuttle. Oh no, we're gonna crash. Oh wait, good thing there's just happened to be a planet there, and they just happen to land.
It's always an M-class planet.
It's always an M-class planet, but it's not a nice M-class planet.
No, it's like borderline not M-class.
It's borderline, but you can crash there.
And teleporters never work on that.
Yeah. They never work, and when you crash, nothing in the shuttle will be intact except for the people inside. They somehow survived, but the rations will be gone.
Always have to fix the distress beacon, always.
Oh, the distress beacon doesn't work. We got to get to higher ground.
I was hoping that when they crashed, they would get entities taking over their bodies and then trying to take command of the Cerdos. I thought that would have been cool.
There's always too much carbonite in the mountains.
There's too much. Oh, there's too much.
Very much so. Yes.
There's too much galvanite, whatever here.
That carbonite is the worst.
And so there's a lot of them just kind of being stranded together, I guess, for most of this, and they got Jeffrey Combs, the Agimus, who's trying. Why don't you use me to help repair your devices? Why don't you get me?
Solve all your problems for you.
We can solve your point. And Mariner's like, no, Stop talking to that thing. He's an evil robot, or whatever he is, and he's going to take over. Don't, and Boimler's a little bit more willing to maybe work with him, or as we find out, use him to get what he wants, not being a complete idiot. So that Mariner, I guess the whole point of their storyline is like Mariner really underestimates him quite a bit.
Because she remembers him from season 1 when he was Bradward Boimler, not William Boimler.
Oh, here it comes.
Yeah,
You've been
episodes
boimed.
to go. I can't wait.
You've been boimed.
You've been boimed. Get over it. Yeah, and so like the whole thing where she eventually admits, well, he's like admits the Jeffrey Combs thing. He's like trying to get him to, work against her. He's trying to sow doubt, and eventually Boimler phasers Mariner and knocks her out. And I only have the one clip of Jeffrey Combs.
She had it coming.
I will produce a whole fleet of murder drones.
Jeffrey Combs is probably one of my favorite actors in Star Trek. I love him.
Yeah, he's been so many great
played
characters.
So many good characters. Yeah. I loved his stint even on Enterprise. It was great.
So it seems like everyone's pretty high on this plot line with Mariner and Boimler and with the Jeffrey Combs guest star. But just back to
Huzzah!
Can we just skip over this and rate it?
Yeah. My chief blacksmith is baffled.
My chief blacksmith is simply baffled by the loss of power, so I don't know what you can do.
At this point, honestly, I would have took Troy's mom for sure.
Wow.
Yes. This is just so stupid and boring.
We find out that Andy Billups, his real name is Andorithio.
Prince Andorithio!
Just call me
It's such
Billups.
an honor
Thank
to
you.
bask in your glory!
Our beloved Prince Andorithio has returned!
Anyway, so it seems like Jody and Kevin aren't fans of Prince Andorithio.
No shit.
Pull this down. Let's get to the ratings for Where Pleasant Fountains Lie. Kevin, you're first.
7, because that second plot is so good.
This would have been a 9, and then they added that shit. So it's a 7 for me as well. I'm taking 2 off.
Okay, so brought down the rating. Okay, let's move to episode 8. I, Excretus of Borg, which I'll just get the pictures going here. So this one was a little bit more recent in memory as we're getting closer to the end here. And this one is where a consultant arrives on the Cerritos to run drills that require the lower decks and the bridge crew to swap duties. Yeah. So Jody, you were enjoying this one?
I love this episode. This is probably it's probably one of my most favorite episodes of the season, for sure. It's hard for me to pick because the last 3 episodes of the season are all solid. So
right, they were. I agree with that general assessment that they were getting even stronger as we were going. And we had we start off this episode with the lower deckers. They're working on the outside of the ship.
I love this.
They're repairing something. A satellite, I guess.
Left because they're fucking tools and no one cares.
And they're just left behind because there's some. I guess there's. Oh yeah, they get it's like the
that wouldn't happen on
USS
the Enterprise.
The USS Bakersfield or have a time. We got a distress call. Oh, we just got it again because they're like in a time loop.
They're in a causality loop.
A causality loop.
Yeah.
So they go them and they leave them behind, and they get stuck there for 6 hours, and they almost die from it, but they don't.
And I just love how Tendy's just like, she's fine. Like, everybody else is kind of like, what are we going to do? And she's just kind of like, just chill out here for a while.
Wise plan.
Every time I see that Shax thing.
Oh, which one? This one?
No, the other one. With them
No, Tana.
Every time I see
You're an interesting couple, huh?
That's probably how he got the scratch on his eye.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Yeah, it might be. Actually, that'd be a good
God, I hope they put that in.
And it would then it would be the same thing as Nick Fury.
Yeah.
You know,
you find out it's the cat.
His eye gets scratched up by a cat, which was a let down. Okay. So there's this whole thing after that aftermath is this this drill instructor shows up, the Pandaronian, who is like this species that can divide themselves into 3. And I had never heard of this. I thought this was something they had made up for the thing, but actually no, it was actually Jeremy, who is actually still in the comments right now. He was the one who said that they're actually from the animated series, Star Trek the animated series, which is canon.
Good catch.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to Jaemeel. Jaemeel doesn't. You don't even say the word canon. He'll just say it doesn't matter.
No,
because
everybody has their own
cannons
opinion.
to the left of me, cannons to the right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so there's all like these series of like these drills that they have to go through, these different, basically mini holodeck scenarios,
And they're all awesome. Every single one of them.
Right. The first one we get is Mariner on the in the mirror universe or whatever.
Which is cool.
This was a lot of fun. Yeah, they're
Make
like, what
it,
do you are, Mariner?
That's a good way to summarize this episode. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Yeah, I like the mirror Shax, which is just a hologram, but he's like, "Who dareth bump into me?
Who dareth bump into me?
Oh, hi, Dareth. I double dog Dareth. Hi.
Oh, okay, good. Just checking.
And then there was like
He's actually more relaxed in the mirror universe.
The mirror Billups and Rutherford, which is also one of my favorite clips.
Oh, nothing makes me hornier than torturing someone. I'm horny all the time.
And being horny always gets me in the mood to torture.
Oh, you can lose a whole day to that cycle.
You too?
It's a cyclical cycle. We also had
oh my god,
Tendi,
the Worf episode.
Yeah, Tendi had to do a medical scenario where she had to treat like a Klingon who wanted to. We have to give this Klingon an honorable death.
We have to get this warrior an honorable death stat. Get me 300 cc's of any type of poison. I have to die. They have giant hearts. So many backup organs.
Sir,
I have to die.
so many backup organs. So it's so hard to kill them, but they all want to die.
Yeah, well, they have like 4 hearts and 8 lungs or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
What are you doing to this Klingon? He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
What are you doing? This is not how you treat him. Right. There was also a scenario.
There was the Wrath of Khan scenario.
Which one's the next one? Oh yeah, there was the Cowboy Land one. Where's that?
Oh yeah.
I know I have it. There it is. Which was kind of based on the Way of the Gun or whatever.
Spectre of the Gun.
I think we lost Davan.
Yeah.
Spectre of the Gun as well. Yeah, and there was different scenarios. Yeah, there he is. There was the one with we mentioned, which kind of showed here quickly, where Rutherford has to be like a chief engineer on like a Constitution class, and basically they give him his version of a Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
You know, but basically they all fail. Nothing's going well except for Boimler, who's been in like this Borg scenario, and he I think he goes through it the first time, and he gets. I'm hearing something.
Yeah, I think it's Davan.
Davan, are you washing dishes?
No. Hold on. I'll be back.
To go wash those dishes.
Don't you threaten me. Anyway.
So his first score is 79%. And he's like, I can do better. And then he keeps like saving the babies or whatever, and he keeps like going through and doing different things, and it's pretty funny. And then we also get there was the whole thing with the polywater scenario that Mariner gets thrown into. Or I can take this time for a second. Which is basically, you know what that means.
It's naked time!
Yes. With everything there, she's like,
now.
oh my god, this is okay, guys. This whole
Glad I got back in time for naked time.
Naked time. Still hearing it, Daph.
Oh crap! All right, well, crap. I don't know.
It is what it is.
It's fine.
I'll just say goodnight to you fellas then. How about that?
Oh no.
You don't have to say goodnight. I don't know.
Why don't we just mute him for a bit? Maybe it'll clear itself.
Yeah.
It's like a storm.
Yeah, I don't hear it on my end.
It sounds like a washing machine or something. Anyway.
It's static. I think it's mostly stop.
Just raise your hand when you want to talk, Devin.
Yeah, just like okay, guys, the whole
now you want to suck.
well, it stopped, didn't it?
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone. Great. Yeah, just everything where the whole orgy scene that's part of this. This was not my dad's Star Trek per se.
I can't tell where I end and you begin.
Especially
so
Boimler.
terrible.
Yeah, it's like it was disturbing, but also hilarious and shocking. So yeah, just like I never thought I would see that in a Star Trek show, but we did it. Yeah, and so there's like the whole plot line here with like the evil drill instructor and her little turn here, where she's like, "I was trying to get you all to fail so that my plot line will work." But then the Mariner and her mother kind of dupe her by say, well, if nobody fails and if because if Boimler doesn't finish his scenario, then you can't fail us. And then they basically take her on a joyride around the galaxy, like to every black hole, crystalline entity, scary, dangerous thing they can find, until this like drill instructor kind of gives in and like lets it go. So they kind of defeat the villain, who was this drill instructor, with maybe some unconventional tactics. But I thought that was I really enjoyed this episode overall. I don't know if I've missed anything in terms of its plot, but
I enjoyed this episode too. I think the overarching story is kind of weak, but the episode is just fun, and that's what this show is supposed to be, right?
Yeah,
right.
This has everything for fun. Like this whole episode is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we even got Excretus of Borg.
There is no Boimler. I am Excretus of Borg.
Excrete, of course.
Excretus of Borg. I taught the Borg Queen empathy and everything.
I taught her empathy.
And then he asks, how's that empathy working for you? We have assimilated it.
All right.
Doesn't he ask her to stop blowing on him too? Doesn't she blow on him at one point?
Oh, because in
Like
reference
Data?
to like the goosebumps that Data got.
Yeah.
Yes.
In reference to First Contact, yeah.
All right, we got 3 left to rate here. Kevin, I Excretus.
9.5.
9.5.
Great minds think alike. I'm the same.
All right, so that brings up that rating to a 9 from where it was. Pretty good. Jaemeel was the lowest on this episode. He was a 7.3. Okay, let's go on to Wedge Douche, which is sorry. Let me pull
Very
this
cool
down.
episode.
Very cool episode. This is the one that was that aired.
This
when
is
I
the
was
unexpected episode for me. This is the one where I'm like, holy shit. This is
Yeah,
more deep than I thought it was going to be.
So this was the one I missed in terms of the live podcast, but this is the one where Boimler tries to find a bridge buddy while the USS Cerritos has some downtime during a long warp trip. Let's just kind of, I'll pull up a couple images here, things like that. I don't have any images from this.
Well, you
I
weren't
wasn't
on
here. I wasn't on it. That's why.
Just put up a thing that says, oh, hold on. Devin's saying something. We got to unmute him.
He's still muted, I think.
But I didn't mute him. No, he muted himself.
Nope.
No?
Here, just talk and I'll make it up. Listen to my podcast. It is good. No.
Okay, well.
We can't hear you, man. Jody is the best. I agree with everything he says. Yep. It sounds about right. I can read lips. I'm just kidding. All right, well. Sorry,
Okay, well,
Devin.
well,
Maybe reconnect.
While we wait for him to sort that out, so this plot line was interesting because we had three different ships, right? We had the Cerritos, who we already know, they're the lower decks, and then we got this transition over to the Klingon lower decks, and we got to meet Ma, who was kind of like the Klingon Boimler, I guess, right?
It's like a Klingon version of Dilbert.
Yeah, he had some fun lines in this one, including
Klingon blood runs as reddish pink as ever.
Reddish pink as ever.
Yeah, and he was also, well, that would be my greatest honor.
That would be my greatest honor, sir. Besides dying in battle, that would be my greatest honor.
Yeah. So a lot of funny things where he's kind of like an ambitious lower decks guy, like a Boimler who's trying to get promoted and trying to get, he's put in charge of like taking off the Targ. Yeah, it was a very honorable movement, sir. And then we also had the Vulcan lower decks, which was run by this other character, featured mostly this other character, T'Lyn.
That was my favorite lower decks. Was the Vulcan ship.
The Vulcan lower decks, where they're
I got news for you then, because they've already confirmed she's going to be in the next season.
Yeah.
Well, I think both of these characters are going to be recurring.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Klingon, but she definitely is, because the voice actress actually did an AMA on Reddit.
Well, yeah, and they say that she's being, at the end of this episode, that she's being transferred to a Federation ship. So
yeah,
as I mentioned,
Expletus of Borg.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, Davan, please.
Try get a hold of yourself, Davan.
T'Lyn, get a hold of yourself. These outbursts will not
damn
be tolerated.
East Coast internet. That's what it is.
That's true.
They got to put the ship in the right spot.
Yeah, there was just like a lot. I don't know. I loved all the stuff with the Vulcans.
Down here on the lower deck.
She has lost all control.
She has lost all control.
The passive-aggressive Vulcan talk was great.
Yeah,
she reminds me a lot of that.
Sounds like it.
What was this girl's name from Star Trek 6? The one that ended up.
That's her character's name.
Oh my God,
Valeris.
Valeris.
Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall.
Reminds me a lot of Valeris. Yeah.
Yeah. But your rebellions will only lead.
You know your rebellions will only lead to punitive spiritualism.
Yes.
Great line.
What is punitive spiritualism?
You don't want to find out.
That's up for yeah. Let's just put it this way, Dave. You don't need it.
I don't.
Bad idea.
Right. I guess there technically were two more lower decks that were shown, right? There was also the pack lid lower decks.
Red Alarm.
Which was funny. Yeah.
Red Alarm.
And I am hungry. You should eat. You are smart.
I am hungry. You should eat. You are smart.
Red Alarm.
Red Alarm.
Red Alarm.
Red Alarm. And then we also had the Borg.
That should be my notification.
Oh my God, the Borg lower decks cracked me up so much. I wished the entire time to see if something would happen.
And nothing happened.
They're all just like.
We laugh about Red Alarm, but it works.
Yeah.
Oh, it works.
Red Alarm. Red Alarm. Red Alarm.
And yeah, just some great lines. I just liked when the Vulcans were like, "You're an idiot, T'Lyn."
Anomalies, by definition, are strange.
Live long and prosper, sir.
Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. Mic drop.
Yes.
That's right, T'Lyn. You tell them.
Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end.
I want to hear what Jaemeel has to say. Stop interrupting him.
One more time.
Try it.
I loved. Okay, I was waiting for the drop to come in. I loved the Klingon reply about Vulcans. Was it cover and Dave? Come on, help me out. Cover and.
I thought you didn't want me to play any more clips.
Wait. The time I want you to play a clip, and I asked you to get this clip.
Dave's getting saucy.
You're losing control, Dave.
I'm losing control. Get a hold of myself.
Dave, did you get the clip?
This will only lead to punitive spiritualism.
Dave, did you get the clip?
I don't have the clip.
Red Alarm, Dave. Red Alarm.
Clip. The was it the Vulcan salute where they're like, what is the Vulcan saying to?
They're like, could you imagine being those Hibunch? Avoid death and cower.
Avoid death and cower. Thank you.
I don't actually have it pulled.
You knew it, but you didn't pull the clip.
No, I did. I never pulled it, but I was able to look it
Jaemeel,
up.
I don't know about you, but I'm very disappointed in Dave.
I am too.
Okay.
This is only lead to
Dave's like, so am I.
So am I. Red alarm.
Red alarm.
So like
This
I
is
love how
punitive
the
spiritualism.
storyline came together in this episode. Sorry, Davan. What?
Nothing. I just said you were being subjected to punitive spiritualism.
Of course.
Yes.
But I liked how all these storylines converged in like a really interesting way, where like the Klingons, where they were like the Klingon captain was doing the thing shady with like the Packlets and the whole Varubian bomb. Whoa, it was a bomb. You can only use it once. You know, we tested it. It didn't. It was pretty cool.
This is the episode. I have a theory that every season of every show always has that one episode that you don't really expect to be good, but then you're like, wow, this is really good. And this is that episode for me. This is the episode that even when I read the premise of it, I'm like, I don't care about lower decks on other fucking ships. Who cares? And then it's like, as you're watching it, and then when they got to the Borg thing, I'm just like, oh my god. So
Yeah.
I got so good.
Who wrote
everything
this
with the
episode?
Vulcans? A different kind of humor.
Yeah, who wrote this episode, Dave?
This episode was written by Catherine Lynn.
Wait, is she the same one who did the one we gave kudos last year? Last season?
She's written at least one other episode, and that was actually no, I'm incorrect. Catherine Lynn has never had a writing credit so far, so this is
She needs more.
She's definitely.
Do we know anything about Catherine Lynn?
She's great. She made a great Lower Decks.
She made a really good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like. I was just seeing if there's. If
It might not be my highest scoring episode, but I respect the episode. It is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I just think that, like the whole thing with like the Packlets, and it also ties into the finale. Like, there is a bigger plot line here. There is more to this than just jokes and Easter eggs and whatever. You know.
So, Dave, is what you're saying is like the plot is creating like elements of a universe that can be considered canon?
Yes, that's right. It is canon.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's Jeff that believes it's not.
It doesn't matter if it is or
It
not.
doesn't matter.
But it does matter to me.
As long as you enjoy it.
I enjoy it. That's the only thing that matters.
Everyone who says it doesn't matter, I disagree with.
It is entertainment at its finest. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yeah,
if you enjoy the books, they're canon.
We'll have
No,
you
they're
guys
not.
on
It doesn't
debate
matter.
9.
You don't understand what it means to be canon.
I know what canon means. I'm not tarded, but come on. Like, it doesn't
You're not a
matter. It's an
Packlet, is what you're
entertainment
saying?
medium. I'm not a Packlet.
If it doesn't matter, then just let me have my way
That's fine.
and say it's canon.
I don't
I don't understand why that's so hard. All right, let's rate this.
Ask your
Where's-
wife.
Where's douche?
All
as it's
tens.
known?
All
10.
tens.
All
All tens.
Change mine to a 9.5.
No, I'm not.
Dave.
I'm not 10.
Yes.
I was
I got
tired
you.
when I put 8.5.
I'm not 10ing this
yeah.
episode. Kevin, did you 10 this episode?
I sure did.
Did you really? Wow.
I 10
You know what?
It's not as good as the next one, so it can't get a 10.
I love this one better.
I kind of agree with Devin on this one. I'm gonna give you a 9.3.
9.3, and on that
I think
note,
even a 9.5. Where did,
No,
okay,
because
where did
I
that
enjoyed the
deduction come
episode
from?
previous to this a little
Nice
bit
try,
more.
Dave. We still don't care.
Oh, look at this. He's not bringing up the comments. Eh? He's got to bring up the comments to prove his point.
just saying, somebody else backs me up. All right, let's
Some
move
of the
on.
books are good, you know.
Indeed.
You can read
Especially
a book
the
and
next Gen
enjoy
book.
it. It just
Some of
didn't
those next
happen.
Gen
It
books are
didn't
amazing.
happen in the they don't have to reference it in the show because you have to.
They can decide whatever they want to actually.
Of course they can.
Right.
If they want to
Everybody-
decide a
Matter.
book's canon,
Everybody
they can.
can interpret
Like when they
the
did
way
with
they
that
want.
Garrick book?
Well, I need some evidence to be.
There's a lot of people that love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm done with it.
I know you got that clip.
I do.
So, but you know what? I still respect the fact that people love it and people enjoy it and all that.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's fine.
Evidence. All right.
Red alarm.
Red alarm. All right, let's go to the finale, which was First Contact, which aired just a week ago tonight. You know, and where do we start with this episode? Maybe like we have with the others. Let's bring up maybe some photos and different things to kind of jog our memory about what happened in this episode.
best goddamn person in the world is on this episode.
Who's that?
Gomez.
Selena Gomez.
I was like, did Tom Paris sneak into this episode too?
No, Tom Paris is not the best thing in the world.
I know we had to laugh.
Yeah, let's find her. She's in here. Here she is.
There she
Your
is,
old
right there.
with my old friend Captain Gomez.
And my old friend Captain Sonia Gomez.
Okay, the whole return of Sonia Gomez. I wasn't seeing this coming. Jody, you were obviously a big fan of this character.
I am.
Were you surprised she made it to captain in 14 years?
No. She has the gumption to do that. She can get there.
All right.
You saw in the 2 episodes of Next Gen, you saw how she tried really hard and always tried to give it an all. And
She
sometimes
did.
spill a little bit of hot chocolate.
The ambition was there. It was
That's
front
right.
and center.
In 14 years, you could easily do that.
It's not impossible. It's
Fuck, Riker's an admiral now. Like,
he's a captain.
Oh, that's right. He's a captain. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Picard's
I'm
an
thinking
admiral.
Picard's an admiral. Yeah.
Picard like seemingly skipped over rear admiral, vice admiral, and went right to
That's
admiral.
right. Yeah.
So it happens.
I only know that from Star Trek Online, but yeah.
There you go.
And it's Star Trek Picard. Yeah, and so this whole mission that they're put on here, they have to go to the LAP system, which is I guess where the Laperians live, and it's a first contact mission. And there's this whole thing about Freeman. She's getting promoted. This is her husband, right? Like Admiral Freeman.
Yeah, this is the father of Mariner.
Yeah. This is the father of Mariner, even though and we still haven't figured out why her last name is different than theirs. But
probably a
She
previous
just
marriage
decided,
or something.
or she didn't want to take that name.
And fun fact, the father's first name is Admiral.
He's Admiral.
Is it?
Just
Nice,
Admiral.
well,
Admiral?
I don't think. Yeah, I
Admiral
don't know
Freeman.
if he does have a name, does he? He's just called Freeman. Admiral Freeman. He was communicate. Yeah, he is married to her. Okay. Anyway, so there's this whole thing about she's getting promoted and she's got to leave the ship, right? And that's kind of like one of the bigger plot lines that sets this up. There's also this whole thing with Jennifer and
I love the dolphins too. That's
Mariner here. She's like, "Oh, you just wanted to catch me with that contraband, Jennifer." And she's
Jennifer.
like, I don't even think about you. Get off my
Yeah,
case.
Jennifer's like, I don't even think about you. I love this.
I don't worry
That's
about
such a
it.
great character.
So, all of you have an assignment. Next time you interact with another coworker, just
Call
state
them
that.
Jennifer.
Just, I don't even think of you.
I don't even think of you.
Think about you.
Yeah.
Well, I've been told on numerous occasions that I can't tell people that I can replace them with lines of code.
Yeah.
I'm my own boss, and I say that to myself all the time.
And after the credits and everything, we got the whole thing in the repair bay where Boimler's getting ready for Captain Freeman Day, which is like apparently for the toddlers.
And even the dolphins know it's just for children.
That's just for cats.
I absolutely love the dolphins though, because the dolphins are the one thing that we always wanted in Next Gen and we never got, even though it's in the damn blueprint. They have dolphins on the fucking ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
Station
like,
ups.
yeah.
So this is a sentient dolphin species that seemingly invented their own space travel without the use of opposable thumbs.
I kind of looked into that a little bit. Most
Did
of
you?
the cetacean species on these ships are apparently Earth cetaceans.
Yes.
So these are normal.
I know the ones that were
human
on Next Gen were supposed to be on Next Gen were just Earth ones.
Yeah, they're like bottlenose dolphins, and there's like beluga. These guys are beluga whales.
Yeah.
These are beluga whales, okay,
Mm.
which are actually dolphins.
Are they beluga whales, really?
I think so.
Yeah, so
That would explain the
They
forehead.
look like beluga whales.
But the whole Captain Freeman Day, and she goes, guess what? Captain Freeman's leaving, and now we're gonna get like a new captain, and we're gonna have to learn. It's gonna suck, And she's like, so Boimler sort of gives her the idea to like, why don't you just tell the other crew? They'll be pissed about it, and she kind of does. Meanwhile, we got Tendi, who's like been called by Dr. Tiana to her office, and it seems like she's going to lose. She's going to lose her
transferred, yeah.
getting transferred off the ship because she's saying she doesn't belong in her sick bay. and whatever. And so there's that kind of whole storyline with her and Rutherford that is a big part of this episode. And where was I? Yeah, and so then but then Mariner does tell Freeman and all of them about, hey, guess what? Or not Freeman. She tells Ransom. Sorry, Ransom and all that, and they all get pissed.
I love when they're all being passive aggressive on the bridge.
No, and if there was an update, I would tell you. I wouldn't keep that information to myself. I'm an open book.
I'm an open book.
Right, and they're like, well, are you because Ransom's like, obviously I'm going to be the new captain, right? And they're like, no, and they like to keep things separate. And I love when Billups was like, fuck you, lower, we're just as good.
Oh, that's such fucking bullshit. We are just as good as any other fucking class. Our warp works twice as fucking fast as any other ship in the fleet.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Get a hold of yourself.
And Arithio, come
the
on.
only time I've ever liked that character.
But I think it's also like, I think a commentary back at like some of the fans who have maybe panned the show and say like, this isn't Star Trek. And I think it's a little bit of them clamoring back and say, we're just as much a Star Trek show as any other show. Our warp core is just as fast, whatever, and so I love the whole passive aggressive thing, and also the conflict that is kind of driven here by like between Mariner and Freeman again. So they keep bringing it back where she's like, you just want to, you're not even telling your friends when you're going to leave the ship. And she's like, they're not my friends. I'm the captain and I have to be a certain way. And all you want to do is cause a fight.
It's the only thing I don't like in this episode is the whole mommy issue shit again. It's just so drawn out through this series. It's literally the only thing I don't like in this episode.
Jaemeel, do you agree with that?
This episode is just so good.
It is good.
Last episode,
don't get me wrong, it's good. The mommy issue thing is just like, well, I even said to Dave after this episode, I think I text Dave and I'm like, I really hope Sonia Gomez is the new captain.
I mentioned previously during this review that I felt like if this occurred last season, then I would have just rolled my eyes, but they did such a great job of building up that relationship to the point where I actually feel for them as a duo. Like I want them to interact, but not interact all the time. We see it in blips and blurps, and that's good. And
blips and blurps?
No blips and blurps.
Oh,
so yes, please don't misquote me. And I was totally fine with it.
I think in this episode though, they give voice to what you're saying, Jody, when they're all standing around with the dolphins. And one of them, I can't remember which one of them, basically tells her to get over it, and
he's like, "Yeah, can we just skip to the end, please?
Skip to the end."
And we know how this is going to play out. So kind of like what the audience is thinking a little bit, because
me anyway.
I remember when we covered the episode 1, Jaemeel, Strange Energies. You were also at that point saying like, I'm kind of over this relationship, or I feel like Captain Freeman needs to move on, because how long can this go on with she's like the rebellious daughter against her overbearing mother, and maybe a new captain would serve the Mariner character better. But she's been here for this whole season now. This whole cliffhanger that we're left with is Captain Freeman is arrested, and what will come of that.
And I suggested also in the episode that Captain Gomez would take over. And then it's like, oh, that would be a downgrade because, she was on a better ship. And I said, well, her other ship is being retrofitted. So she'll take over this ship that's currently under investigation with what has occurred.
I think Gomez is going to be like the temporary captain for like one episode, and then they're going to bring her back.
Oh, please don't make it just one episode.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, no.
Here's a question I think is maybe good for Davan about the Cerritos having that yacht, Davan. Is that why are you surprised the Cerritos has a captain's yacht? Is that a consolation prize for Freeman?
I thought they all had captain's yachts.
I think it's required because it's a diplomatic thing as well, right?
We've only ever seen them used once, which was in Star Trek Insurrection. The only time the yacht is actually shown to be used.
What are you trying to prove? You already got the promotion.
Get off my yacht!
Get off my yacht! It's my yacht.
Well, all the ships,
Did you guys
had
hear
the
that?
yachts, though, didn't they?
Shax has 5 open books.
He's an open book.
5.
He is an open book. 5 of them.
Any ship that does diplomatic missions will have one.
Yeah, because that was the whole premise of having it.
So
Voyager
not
has one
Defiance.
too, but we never saw it used. It was called the Arrow.
Well, no,
Can't
because
pick
Tom
somebody up
Paris
in a
was too
shuttle.
busy with his racy shuttle.
Delta Flyer.
Yeah, fucking so stupid. I hate that. But anyway,
The Cerritos is bigger than Voyager, right?
I don't know.
I
honestly don't know. Voyager is pretty small. It's
Yeah,
a pretty small ship.
It's 15
compared to
decks.
the other
It's
ones.
pretty narrow, sleek.
Yeah.
And
Well, the whole point was it was the organic electronics, right?
Yeah, it had the biomimetic gel packs and things like that to bring it through. But I think that the Cerritos is bigger.
Anyway,
because the Cerritos has like a saucer section comparable to the Enterprise D, right? And it just has a bit of a different section.
I don't think it's as big, but I think the Cerritos is probably bigger than Voyager. That would be my guess. I don't know. I guess we'll have to figure that out. Devin, you have homework.
Yeah, because we saw that also that we saw the other ship that Gomez had that is kind of. They do name this class. I'm still learning it. Forgive me. The USS Archimedes.
Archimedes, yeah. Well, if you're using the ratio of Starbase 1's door there and that, then I would say it's probably
Obana class. The Obana class.
Obana?
which-
Really?
Yeah, that's what this one's called. Versus like the California class, which is the Cerritos itself.
I get the impression the California class is a smaller version, but could be wrong.
Yeah, just to have a quick look there at the Cerritos. It's a very big saucer, and then there's not a lot aside from the engineering section.
You don't give the second contact people the good ships, like, let's be honest.
No, you don't give them the Defiance.
And California, that
Voyagers.
kind of makes sense, right? When you think about it.
Yeah, California, it's kind of ordinary.
It's big. It's big, but meh.
Just like
there's a lot of
just like-
crazy there.
Just like Boimler, he's from
At least they didn't
Modesto,
call it the
California.
Florida class. That would have been way worse.
It's like the moon of San Francisco.
Oh, I did like that.
Okay, and so
Dave.
I do want to like I know we've been on here for almost 2 hours, so I do want to kind of wrap us up. But just everything to do with this episode, the fact that they have to kind of when the Archimedes gets hit, they get knocked into this thing, they're gonna collide with the planet, the Leperians, and the crew of the Cerritos has to come together, including the Dolphin members, Matt and Kimulu. And everything else, and the whole sequence where they had to like take off the panels, like all the hull, right? And we're going to take off the hull, and we're going to do all this. And I thought that was just a lot of fun. I thought it was a really great thing. Davin?
Oh,
I have an answer to my homework there, teacher.
Thank you.
Okay.
There you go.
The Cerritos is almost 200 meters longer than the Voyager.
200
Oh,
meters.
that would make sense. It's not as big
So
as
yeah,
the
like
Enterprise, but it's
almost,
small.
but not quite twice as big, really.
as lengthwise, right?
Lengthwise.
Wow.
Yeah, and probably has a bigger crew then, presumably as well.
Yeah,
I
didn't
don't
get
know
that
what the
number.
compliments of that is. I don't think they've ever stated it.
Voyager only has about 150 people.
Yeah, Voyager's like 160 or something like that.
Yeah. So and like the
Which
Enterprise D
season?
would have like a season.
Yeah, that's true. Which season?
And how many people are dead, and how many new Borg kids have they picked up?
And how many? How many decks are taken over by Borg?
Or stray Borg. Yeah.
Stray
just stray
Borgs
Borgs walking around
and
on, like, deck
Talaxians
six.
are going to pick up here and there, and Ocampans are going to exchange.
As long as they don't pick up any more Kess's people, we'll be good.
He goes, wow, it doesn't look that big, Davin. It is.
We've heard that before.
It's just a weird angle. That's all.
It was cold.
Jody, were you excited by the prospect of them having ballroom dance competitions on the Cerritos?
Well, this is obviously to mock the next gen orchestras and late night lounges with Riker, I guess. But
Why wasn't
it
there
is
an
what it is.
episode about a social committee for these ships?
Star Trek.
I think you
Social
just
Committee.
answered your own question, Jaemeel.
It's coming soon to Lower Decks. We know.
You think so? All right.
Yeah. The social
Oh,
committee.
and the ballroom dancing competition will have to be postponed.
She was so ready for it. And my last clip that I want to play is just a Shaxx clip, which was
Nothing explodes around here unless I'm the one blowing it up.
That's right. Shaxx. Yeah, and just so anyway, they end up doing it. They have to Ransom has to go through there. Mariner flies out at one point. She's saved by Jennifer. What do you want, Jennifer? And like, just like I don't know. I thought I found the finale, first contact, to be so exciting.
It's a great finale. For sure.
You know, I think Freeman as a captain really does shine in this episode. You know, she's just like, we're Starfleet and we get it done.
But we are Starfleet and we never back down from a challenge.
I'm still not into her character at all, though.
The Freeman
in
character?
That scene where they first cuff her and like Ransom and Shaxx are just gonna jump right in. What do we do, Captain? I'll kill her.
I do like when they're all like
I'll
in
kill
the
all of
hallway
you.
though. They're all in the
Yeah.
corridor and they're about to like celebrate her promotion.
Yeah, that's a great
And she
moment.
walks in
Yeah.
and out in cuffs. It's like, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Before
Yeah.
that, I like when she comes back in drunk after first contact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're a very welcoming culture.
Yeah.
Very welcoming. Yeah, but it was nice.
It
was
reminds
nice.
me of that. It reminds me of what was it? First Contact, where they all they get. Marina Sirtis gets drunk with Zephyr Cochrane.
Yeah.
No, we don't have time to talk about time.
Yeah.
We don't have the time.
Don't go criticizing
No,
my
you have it.
counseling technique.
Timeline.
Timeline. This is no time to argue about time. We don't have the time.
Best line she's ever
Oh.
spoken in the entire
You
series.
didn't get the end, yeah.
What was I saying? What was I saying?
He's got that like kind of like stone face going on.
Yeah.
Have you
Remind me a
noticed
lot
how
of
your
that.
boobs have started to firm up?
Not you care about such things in this day and age.
You ever noticed how your boobs are starting to firm up?
That's how it
You have
goes.
the
Okay.
clip of Data saying that to Worf.
I have the same thing going on right now.
I think I do somewhere. All right, here. Let's rate this last one. We need to get well, we don't have Jeff's rating yet. He hadn't watched it yet, so he's still TBD. But
Not as high as last episode. That should be the rating.
Another 10.
Another 10 for Kevin. I gave this a 10 as well.
You know what? Honestly, I'd love to give it a full 10, but I think it's only a 9.5. There are a couple things that bug me about the episode, but for the most part, it's awesome. Great episode.
And complain with a 9.5, Jody. So that brought up the rating a bit. We have a 9.8 average. This is, I think, now the highest rated Lower Decks episode.
Assuming Jeff doesn't destroy it with whatever.
Assuming Jeff doesn't bring it down.
Jeff gives it like a 7. You're
Yes,
screwed.
just so that the previous episode gets its rightful place as the top episode.
Right. So that rounds out our ratings a bit, guys.
I see you've met Jeff before.
You know, Jody, you were an 8.1 compared to 6.7 on season 2.
You know what? Honestly, it's a much better season.
We're all of us have that.
And I can find good things in every episode. So, which is something I couldn't say about last season.
So, and for this whole season, averages at an 8.5, which, you know, hey, great. Like that's pretty good.
Which means season 3 should be really good.
And now, where do you think that this cliffhanger goes? How long do you think that this thing with Captain Freeman goes on?
It's going to go at least one episode, if not 2.
No, it's not Smallville. Let's give it a little bit more credit.
2 maximum.
2
I've
maximum.
never watched
maximum.
Smallville, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
it's terrible.
Oh,
Outside of Michael Rosenbaum, I would say 3 episodes.
3 episodes.
Speaking of which, Michael Rosenbaum's podcast is amazing.
It
If
is.
you haven't watched it.
No,
Yeah.
Inside of You.
Inside of You, yeah. He did the guy from guy who plays Charles on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can't remember his
Yes.
name. That was a great interview. He does a really good interview, that guy. Anyway.
He does.
Sorry.
Although once he starts talking about himself and
He does talk about himself a little too much.
lot
Yeah.
and how I'm in counseling and I take a lot of therapy, a lot of CBDs, I
Him
like
too,
Michael Rosenbaum. Yeah. I like it's a really good podcast. Almost as good as ours. Almost.
I wouldn't go that far. But.
Jody, let's talk a bit more. Just okay. First Contact. We went through it all,
and that one's a good.
And
one
Locutor's a Trek. Great podcast.
Very good podcast.
Check it out. Look, so Lower Decks. They got now 2 seasons. You said they wouldn't be a third, but
did I?
I think so.
Do you have that clip?
I don't know if I have that clip. But we have to,
when someone makes a bold claim like that,
I know I've told you already. I don't think there's going to be a season 5 of Discovery, but I don't remember seeing that about Lower Decks.
Do not start taking clips of us.
Yeah, that's
gonna happen. That's gonna happen.
You're already borderline, Dave.
Here's where Kevin thought that Star Trek 3 was the greatest movie ever, or whatever. Play the clip.
You definitely don't have that one.
The only one I have is really Jeff from Radio Theater going go 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 or whatever.
Watch core
coolant leak.
I got a coolant leak.
Coolant leak.
Yeah, you know what? If I did say that, definitely they've redeemed themselves. I honestly, the first season was hard for me. Even on the rewatch, I enjoyed it more than I did the first time around, but it still wasn't, in my opinion.
Well, if you look at your season 1 numbers, you started you gave the first episode a 4, and then you gave the last episode.
First episode's terrible as that episode.
Yeah,
and it's similar with Jeff. Jeff had a very similar path to you, where you were well, I don't know about the show, and I don't really know what it is, and
so you know what? I think on the first run. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Jaemeel. Just give me 1 sec. The first run through it, I don't think I really grasped what they were trying to do. I think that's part of the issue. I know it's supposed to be a satire, but it's also supposed to be fan service. I think I more appreciated it on the second run through. Whereas now that I kind of know where they're supposed to be, I think season 2 has made it look a lot better for me. But anyway, sorry, Jaemeel, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's fine. You were on a roll. Let it happen. Now, with what happened with Lower Decks in terms of your change of opinion, mostly due to a higher quality of episode.
I think that was definitely a good factor. Yeah.
How do you feel about Picard?
I am excited for Picard season 2.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because when they released the trailer, it's got everything that I wanted that fucking show to have from the beginning. So I think they've almost kind of rebooted it. Because if you actually look at what they're doing with it, I don't know if you guys have all seen the trailer for season 2. It's to me, I think it's interesting. The only thing I don't like about it is the whole Seven with the chick thing. That to me just looks like
Raffi.
Raffi, yeah. I don't like Raffi to begin with, though.
You're gonna get 5 episodes of just heavy Allison Pill plot sequences.
I'm actually
so angry with the first season. I just want it to fail. I just want it to fail and die and go away.
You know what? I'm kind of with you on that. The only thing I will say though is the Riker episode. The Riker episode was phenomenal for that series. It was a great episode.
Riker and Troy were phenomenal. I'm not.
It was a good episode.
But overall, that's just because we love seeing them together again, right?
No, it wasn't that. It was just I liked the whole really Riker to the rescue.
Yeah,
the Riker rescue thing was awesome. I thought it's nice to see the fact that when they're taking Picard and saying this is a guy who's pretty much at the end of his life, he's the frail guy, and he's trying to do something right, but in reality he's fucking it up for the most part. So I kind of like that we've kind of run full tilt, because Picard was a guy that we looked up to during Next Gen. He was always the smart guy. He was always the guy that knew what to fucking do all the time. Very rarely had doubt, stuff like that. And now you doubt him all the time because he's just a frail old man who's an asshole, right? So he's kind of turned full tilt, right? So, but I like where it looks like they're going with season 2. I hope they're not fucking with me with the trailer, which they probably are, let's be honest. But I have hopes for it. Let's put it that way, Jaemeel. But in reality, I'm not setting it too high. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I'm going to watch it.
Have a lot to make up for.
I'm going to watch it, but I think it will be better.
Do you think they'll be running around their socks in the Borg cube?
No. Thank God.
All right.
That alone right there was...
completely different ship.
Okay, and Kevin, similar question, but maybe, okay, when you think about the new Trek that's come out since, I guess, even since the JJ movies, right?
Yeah.
We had the JJ movies, and then Discovery, and then Picard. and Lower Decks is in this mix too, right? And so, how do you think? Like, do you think the Lower Decks is sort of at the leading edge of that, or maybe?
Yeah, for me, yes, Lower Decks is the one I wanted. I didn't know I wanted it because I wasn't expecting that the funny show, the show that kind of makes fun of Star Trek, would be the one that would be the most like Star Trek for me.
Yeah.
But I find like Picard and Discovery, there's almost too much action. Like I find it nauseating, and there's not enough,
especially Discovery,
of anything
There's
else.
not enough heart to it.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
what
Discovery is
Or
all about
intelligence.
showing me Space Jesus. That's what they're trying to do. They keep showing me Space Jesus. Now she's Captain Space Jesus, and that's the thing that
Oh,
drives
Lord.
me mental about Discovery.
Well, is Picard not a space Jesus?
No, he's a
What?
frail old man now. He's fucking everything up.
Now, but like, aren't all the lead characters
Cisco
always?
is the space Jesus. Get out of here.
Cisco's the closest. to
Cisco is Space
we
Jesus.
have. Let's be
If there was
honest.
ever one.
Yeah,
You know,
let's be honest.
Jesus.
Right. But okay, like when I think about this crew, when I think about like the the Lower Decks characters, I care about them. I care what happened to Freeman. She got arrested. What's going to happen? Is she going to get her
I
shit
care about
back?
some of the characters.
Yeah.
Right? Shax, he came back to life. That was a huge
They could
joy.
take Mariner off that show tomorrow, and I wouldn't give a fuck.
I wouldn't be sad to lose Mariner. I would be sad to lose any of these characters.
Same thing with Boimler. Wouldn't really care that much. Tendi, though, I love. I hope they do more with Tendi.
Boimler, I like,
Rutherford,
yeah.
same thing. I hope they do more with Rutherford as well. And
Right.
Shax. I think Shax needs his own series.
Shax the spin-off with Tiana.
Yeah, like they give me like a 10-episode just side series of Shax. I will totally
You
watch
went back to
that.
Bajor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes back to Bajor, causes some shit. It'd be great.
He
The
does
only
his
two
pottery.
characters that
Star
I'm-
Trek Lower Shacks.
The only two characters that I'm iffy on are Ransom and the engineer, who I still have not.
Phillips?
His name.
Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips.
Prince Enderithio.
And I don't hate them. They're just boring. They're meh.
They are boring
Right.
characters. Yeah, I agree. And actually, I feel the same way about Freeman as well. Captain Freeman, I think is a very boring character.
She's funny. I like it.
Freeman.
She can be funny, but she's overly done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
Go
to a
warp
point
time.
where
Warp
it's-
time me.
Warp
Or what
me.
is it?
Warp time. Yeah, that was pretty good though.
What if I say go warp time?
I can live with either Mariner or Freeman being taken off the ship at any time. I'm totally okay with that. I think them separate would be much better.
I don't think they could get rid of Mariner though.
Well, they can't get rid of Mariner.
No,
but
Mariner's like their main.
no, it's a main cast.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, main cast.
She's
So
like
Freeman could
alpha.
go,
She's
but-
the alpha.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
I think that the bridge crew officers could interchange over time potentially.
Sure, because the show's not about them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that well, and the cat, which I can never remember her fucking name.
Tiana.
Tiana, yeah. The cat needs more, but the nice thing is they're kind of just giving her subtle little things in the whole series, which I just love. Like her little tiny spot to shine is always hilarious. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what. The minute you see her on screen, you know it's going to be a funny scene.
What she reminds me the most of like Pulaski.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Bones for
How
sure.
dare you? How dare
Pulaski,
you? Sir?
Pulaski
I might
was
hang
kind
up
of-
right
was
now
Lady
because
Bones.
of that.
Yeah, Pulaski was Lady Bones.
Pulaski
Yeah.
wasn't Lady Bones. She was just Bones. At least had a little bit of heart to him. He had a little bit of fun with him.
And charm.
Pulaski was just like, let's be a bitch all the time because
To
I'm better.
everyone.
Yeah.
Data, look at this.
Data.
And with
Yeah,
and with
Can't even
Bones,
say Data's name right.
the difference between her and Bones is she was coming into a new crew and acting that way right away.
Yeah.
But with Bones, he knows these characters. Like when we start that series,
Yeah.
he already
Him and
knows
Kirk have
everybody.
that.
They have a rapport, and it's
Pulaski
fun.
literally from like day one, she's like basically telling off people, and it's like,
telling off
who the fuck are
Picard
you?
day one.
Yeah, you're telling off Picard. Who the
What's the
fuck are you?
Yeah,
You're like 3 ranks under him. Fuck off.
one rank. She's a commander, but it's okay.
Well, yeah, technically she's commander, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was street corn.
that was just some delicious street.
It was
corn.
probably just street.
That's
corn.
what all the pips are.
That's true. I was thinking about getting a captain's uniform, but
Put some corn on it.
I can just get some corn on there.
Just get some street corn. You'll be fine.
The thing also I love about Lower Decks is just that how many times are we doing the Deep Space Nine podcast and we think of something we're like, they should do that on Lower Decks. Like
they really haven't harnessed much of DS9, and I really hope they see that in the next season.
And,
like DS9 is not my favorite series, even though I know some of you would disagree with me on that one. It's good, but it's not my favorite series, and it's one of those things though. But there's a lot of good content in DS9 that they can easily play with. They can easily play with it.
They say that once. I forget who's talking to who, but she says, "Oh, my sister got a symbiote and changed her whole personality," and they're like, "Oh, because of all the past lives and everything." And she's just like, "No, because." Well, everything is just about her becoming a symbiote now.
That was a good joke. Yeah,
that is a good joke.
Yeah, everything. I got a symbiote now.
That's the Dax Tiss right there. Yeah. But it's what, and obviously that's a subject for another debate. But DS9 is a great series. Don't get me wrong.
What is though, Jody? Is it TNG for you? Next Gen is your favorite?
TNG for me is definitely number one. Okay. And I'm sure some of that is just the fact that I grew up with that, right? But DS9 for me, the problem with DS9 is it was more of a thinker Star Trek. It wasn't as much adventure. Now, they ended up getting into the adventure later on, but the first couple seasons are definitely not that adventure-packed compared to the other seasons. Yeah.
Move along home!
Move along home.
That was an adventure.
Lava rain!
Lava rain! Oh, no, I forget it.
But, it's
second
there's so much content there that they can definitely draw from. Like, I expect that joke to be in there at one point or another.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're like, when is Alan Moraine? It was only a
game. That's not in there soon.
Only a game.
It'll be in the background. We'll just see like a girl doing hopscotch in the background.
Yeah. Alan Moraine, but
think about all the guest stars they could easily get for that, right? You can get Kira, no problem. Stuff like that. Like they could have a whole thing where they meet back.
I would love to have Worf on this. Like I think Worf
is definitely going to be on it. I'm sure. Because Worf is already linked to he's already linked to Picard, so I'm sure that.
And Michael will be like, I get to do Worf and not do makeup. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, like for him, that's probably.
I just have to do a voice, like which he did for the video games and different things. But yeah, like no, it's gonna be.
He actually did some of the most amount of voiceover work probably out of all the.
Him and Stewart. Patrick Stewart did a ton.
Patrick Stewart did tons,
voiceover work as well. Yeah. Okay, guys. So have we talked enough about the Lower Decks? Is there anything that's gone unsaid? This is our chance.
It's good. If you haven't watched it, watch it.
Yep,
watch it.
I do it. Check out the merchandise as well. Especially was it Titmouse stuff. Check out their T-shirts.
You got any Rito shirts there, Davin?
Get yourself a Rito. So I didn't wear my Rito shirt tonight. I guess I should have.
Oh, by the way, I saw that
after that episode.
I saw that. That was very well done. Yes. Just so you know. I was proud of you, and I haven't even met you yet.
That's how it works. That's how we do things over at Locutors.
So yeah, and on that segue, let's make sure to check out Davin's podcast, Locutors of Trek, which is a great Star Trek podcast he does with his buddy Dave there.
The one thing I want to say here, Dave,
new episode just went up.
I'm tired of seeing him put up the fucking sticker. Can you not just get a wallpaper thing and put it up when he does his plug? The sticker just looks so bad on the camera compared.
Well,
I'm sure it looks great.
Send me the logo.
Just send him the fucking logo and get it up there. Make it look good.
I can pop it up.
Yes.
Or we could.
It's a good podcast. Everybody should listen to it. It's great.
Yes, check it out. You just did one.
Episode just went up.
What was the newest one? The Taylor one?
Yeah. The what is it? The Spotting, Sewing, and Spacemints of Elam Garrick.
Amazing.
Clever lad. Okay, good job. Check out Locutors of Trek, and thanks for being on all these podcasts with us, Davin, as well. Great, very, very fun. And what else have I forgotten about? Check out my son's podcast. Let's talk about fighting games.
I'm like T-Mobile Sidekicks from 1999.
Jaemeel always reminds me to plug.
Like, what is he doing?
Plug Game's podcast. It's called Let's Talk About Fighting Games. You can find that on Spotify or wherever you get your audio podcasts. And additionally, check out our other Star Trek podcasts that we do here on Live Long and Podcast. On Mondays, we talk about Star Trek: The Original Series. At least we have 3 more episomes left, Jody. 4 left. We're going to be talking about the where they get old. The syndrome. Where they get old.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's a good episode.
You know what I mean. Yeah. We're talking about that one next Monday, and then also
that one.
Presumably next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the next episode of that, season 4. Next Thursday, Davan and I and Jessica Chan are going to be talking about the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy, the new Star Trek animated show that's going on Nickelodeon.
I heard they got Chakotay coming now.
Chakotay's big guests coming, man.
Hey, you can't
Jason Alexander.
You cannot have Janeway in a show without Space Indian.
without Space Indian.
Akuchi Moya.
You know,
I say it is.
He was also Captain Miller, 5th Armored
Captain Miller, 5th Armored Infantry.
He was also
good for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll bring his spirit animal with him.
Yeah.
Was that from Tour of Duty?
And you're stuck with the only Indian in the universe who
And
can't start a
no
fire by rubbing...
disrespect to Native Americans or anybody else. I don't mean it. I'm just saying. They really played that up in Voyager, and it drove me absolutely mental. He's a character that could have went so much further.
Chakotay. Well, let's see what they do with him in Prodigy.
And he's a great actor too, so you'd think. But anyway,
eating Raoul.
Hopefully, he gets some good chops in this.
We'll see.
And I think that's all the Star Trek podcasts for now that we have imminently coming up.
You're gonna have Picard shortly. Too,
and
right?
Picard, we're gonna have
Discovery's first, is it not? And then Picard, and
November
then Brave
11th,
New Worlds.
isn't it?
Discovery. We're starting as of November 18th, and
18th.
then Picard's in January sometime, late January, early February, and then Star Trek: Strange New Worlds after that.
Which I'm still unsure if that's going to be good or not.
Well, if you didn't like, I don't know. It's basically a spin-off of Discovery season 2, which is
season 2, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't
But
know.
it's going to be episodic, so that should be it.
That should be
Yeah,
better.
high hopes for it. Probably because I didn't watch Discovery season 2.
I've seen clips of the actor though, and he's phenomenal.
Ensign Mount is pretty
Ensign
good.
Mount is great as Pike. The stuff they're doing
Spock
with
is just terrible.
The stuff they're doing with Spock is bad.
God.
Bad. It's like him singing "I am the modern."
But aren't we
general."
getting a whole show of him with Spock?
I know, but like this younger Spock that they're trying to do with Ethan Peck is not. I'm not in favor. So
Putting Spock in something these days is a big red flag.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to go back to Vulcan for
let's
a
be
couple
honest,
of years.
How could they really have done that without Spock though? Because obviously the Pike timeline would have Spock in it.
Oh, you have to have Spock in the show if you're going to do a show about the Enterprise in this particular time period.
And
Canon.
then
remember the
original Mystique is the first officer, right?
Yeah,
Rebecca Romaine Stamos, who's actually married to Jerry O'Connell, who's the Ransom on Star Trek Lower Decks.
Is she Stamos? I thought she was just Rebecca Romaine now.
Yeah, I don't think she's got the
I just
Stamos
add
part.
the Stamos just to always remember.
She's moved up. She's moved up from.
She's Rebecca Romaine O'Connell now.
Yeah.
You know what? You go from Uncle Jesse to the guy from Sliders. I don't know if you moved up.
Moved up. My Secret Identity.
My Secret Identity.
God, that was so terrible.
That was a great show.
Tier. Top tier.
Sliders was awesome though.
Sliders was
Jaemeel.
Yes, with the crying man, Rembrandt Brown.
Yeah, man, the crying man.
I'm with you.
Cry like a man.
Great.
Yeah, cry like a man.
Sliders
That's a
actually,
song.
honestly, I really like the premise of Sliders. It was a great.
It went really bad after season 2.
Yeah, it got real bad.
I don't even know if I went that
As
far.
soon as they brought in his brother.
They had
lost
his brother
John
on there,
Lester.
and they moved to production to LA. It was bad. It was much better first 2 seasons.
It
And
was shot in
then
BC, wasn't it? Normally,
BC for the first 2, and then they moved it to California.
Yeah.
It was,
It's the rule. It's the Police Academy rule. Any Police Academy filmed outside of Toronto is a bad Police Academy movie. It's facts.
My Secret Identity is great, Jeremy. Unless you're defending it.
I
Then-
think he's defending you, Dave.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I'm gonna fly out of here, guys.
I'm gonna fly. I'm Ultraman.
Let me get my cans. Let me get my cans of aerosol.
You need some repellent, of course.
Right. Dave, I hear that
Jerry
you have a
O'Connell
podcast
created a
called-
hole in the ozone layer.
called Super Mater Brothers.
Yeah, we do. We have another channel called Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, Jaemeel. I was on that with you last night.
Feels like I want to go to bed.
I want to go to bed. Yeah, I know too. We're talking about all kinds of shows, including Survivor and Big Brother and other shows like Tiger King, Serpent, the Tiger King.
We're going to do a podcast about the Eternals in a couple weeks.
Podcast. We need to do a podcast about the What If series as well.
But the new Tiger King.
The new Tiger King. When's that coming out?
It's November.
Okay, we're talking about that too. So we got to get Sterling back.
November. Yeah, good luck with
But
that.
it's a Tiger Monarchy, is it?
It's a Tiger Monarchy. I want Tiger
the
Queen.
Continuation of the crazy man with his tigers.
More Carol Baskin.
More Carol Baskin.
Apparently,
Anyway,
she's not as much in this one, but anyway.
check it out. We're going to be talking about Marvel and Survivor and all those things over on Super Mater Brothers, and also check out Trivial Debates, our monthly show where we argue about movie, TV, sports, and more. I will be hosting the next edition. It will be a Halloween edition, and that will be on October 31st.
I thought I was at a party at your house on that day.
That's the day before.
Oh, okay.
Choo-choo party?
All right.
Choo-choo party!
Choo-choo!
Choo-choo party.
I'm like, you're not inviting me to your party so I could be on a podcast, are you? There better be beer.
It's a trap.
No, there's no podcast. No, don't worry about that.
What if
all
was
right.
meh?
What if was amazing?
I actually haven't seen all of it yet.
Oh, that's good.
Just skip one episode, episode 5.
Episode 5. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Which
was that the party one?
That's the zombie one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like
the
zombie
letdown.
one quite a bit.
That was a letdown compared to the comic books. It was not as good.
It's zombies are overdone. They could have taken a break from it. I don't need any more zombies or
Hey.
symbiotes in my Marvel stuff.
Red alarm. Let's get this shit going.
Red alarm.
Yeah.
Red alarm.
It's naked time!
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so on that note, guys, thanks so much for sitting and talking to me for 2.5 hours about Star Trek Lower Decks and all these things and getting the ratings in. We are going off, and on that note, we'll be back to talk about season 3 before you know it, and make sure to check out all the other stuff we already talked about. Okay, goodbye.
Red alarm.